Oh, good morning. Good morning, Paula, and good morning to Emma. And good morning to our other friends that are not joining the live chat yet, but I sure hope you do. We're going to get started in a little bit with Elaine's Rolls Royce of Singers, and that's why I've got my Rolls Royce out here. And if you don't know the story about Rolls Royce and this particular model, the 201-2, ask one of the moderators, because guess what? They know. And if they're not willing to share, when I get back in a little bit, I will share with you why the Rolls Royce and the 201-2 are joined at the hip forever and ever and ever. Yeah. All right. All right. Enjoy the little groove. I'm feeling kind of groovy on this rainy Saturday in Oconto, Wisconsin. Yeah. Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want
and I pray. All I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror. So fucky, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly, I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just get buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight. Gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezed till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Is all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah, that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait, no, it's living with no shame. Wait, no, it's sleeping in on Sundays. I guess it's different for each of us and that's okay. Well, I just want to be happy. How to get there? Glad that you asked me. I think it's different for everyone. Some of us need work, others need fun. Some of us need purpose to overcome. But try to do what you love when it's said and done. Cause there's so many differences in each of us. Trust your gut, it can show you what you want. Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Is all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. Living life every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Yeah, all I need are some better days. Is all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days.
All right, I'm just checking the live chat real quick. So here's the deal. Here's the deal. And I'll turn down this music just a little bit for a moment. So Rolls-Royce does not really need an introduction, right? Rolls-Royce doesn't need an introduction. And right around 1948, they were looking for another option. They were trying to work with a series of different machines, and they weren't able to get the job done to the standard that they wanted. And they were sewing leather that was probably similar to this. This is a thinner gauge type protected full grain leather. It's not a garment leather. It's probably about 2 to 3 ounces. And this is the kind of leather that would have been on the door panels of their luxury automobiles. And they weren't getting the stitch quality that they wanted. Plus, they had some portability needs throughout the factory where they sometimes needed to do stitching over here, and then they needed to have stitching done over there. And some of these machines they were trying to work with were just way too cumbersome. So they got into a conversation with Singer, and Singer said, give our 201-2 a try. You know what? That was an immediate marriage made in heaven. Immediate marriage made in heaven. Rolls-Royce just loved it. And they used that machine from about 1948 until around 1951-52 and delivered stitch quality on those panels that they had never seen before. And I don't know what eventually caused them to step away and to take a different path, but that's a big part of the history of this machine. And that's why about 11 or 12 years ago, almost 12 years ago, I was the first one in the world to name and proclaim. Yeah, I was to name and proclaim this as the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines. Yeah. And as Paula already alluded to, Paula is one of my leadership team members, an absolute jewel out of West Palm Beach, Florida, as is Emma, also from Naples, Florida. And as Paula was alluding to, this is a duo of machines for Elaine Montgomery from the great state of Mississippi that most people would just downright envy. Just downright envy. I mean, the Rolls-Royce of Singer sewing machines by itself is enough to make someone become a hater of that person that has it and they don't. Well, Elaine decided to take a path. I'm going to see if I can come into the shot here with my fun Saturday blue glasses. Where am I? Somewhere. Oh, there I am. Okay. It's raining here today, so if my hair looks a little rainy, it's because I've been going in and out in the rain all day today. Any rate, I won't apologize for it. I'll just say style on this Saturday. This is my style. So Elaine contacts me. Let me go way back. I'm actually going to mute the music for a second. So I'm going to go way back. Many months ago, Elaine contacted me just out of the blue. I see my phone, as sometimes happens, my phone will just ring and it will say whatever state, whatever country is calling. And this sweet gal from Mississippi calls and she says, I want to talk to you about something, Scott. I said, okay, yes, ma'am. What do you got? She says, I've got two granddaughters that are the jewel of my eye. They are just a treasure beyond treasure. And when I'm long and gone, I don't want them to forget grandma. I want them to remember grandma, celebrate grandma, and rejoice in the time that we had together. And I said, well, tell me what your thoughts are. She says, I want to get two of your finest sewing machines. I mean, cream of the crop, top of the shelf. I want to get the best of the best that I can have you prepared just for me, shipped to me down in Mississippi. And then I can begin to sit down with my granddaughters and pass on the legacy to the next generation of getting them excited about sewing, getting them passionate about sewing. And then when I'm no longer walking the earth, they're still going to be celebrating the times that we had, the projects that we did, the discoveries that we had, and the fun that we had with those two great machines. I said, I've got two machines in mind, but they're not cheap. And Paul and Noel can attest to this, having gotten one of these Rolls-Royce Singer sewing machines from the workshop. It's an investment. You gotta dig pretty deep down into your pocket among the lint and everything else and pull out some pretty good wads of cash just to get this machine, this 201-2. So I said the other machine I have in mind is one that is referred to as the Queen of Singers. Now, someone that's watching this right now and wants to jump into the live chat, and it can be one of the moderators too, but when I say the Queen of Singers, we're talking about the Rolls-Royce of Singers with the 201-2. When I talk about the Queen of Singers, what machine am I talking about? You type it into the live chat. I'm going to kick the music on for just a little bit, and then we're going to be starting to dig into this Rolls-Royce and see what she can do and what she's going to be able to dazzle Elaine's granddaughters with when it gets down to Mississippi. Okay? All right. Oh, the song must have ended. Okay, I got it. I'm techto. I'm a tech guy. Ooh. Yeah. Oh, wait, you can see me on camera. I thought I was off camera. Whoa, we're off the charts here. Hang on, Scott. Hang on. Yikes. Yeah. Yeah. I've got these things that I can't go. Watch me turn this life into something that you could never know. All right, so if you show up after that bell rings, you got to go to one of the moderators and get a late pass. Yeah, you do. Come on. Give me all Emma was the first one. I think Emma was the first one to nail it. And yes, the 222K is in fact known worldwide as the Queen of Singers. So super duper cool. We've got two of the finest machines that Singer ever made. We're presenting this one today, and then I'll be presenting the Queen of Singers after that. Now let me really drop a teaser here for all of you watching right now. Yeah, here I am. Okay, so the teaser is this. I've got two 222Ks in the workshop. One was already spoken for. It's going to be going to one of Elaine's granddaughters down in Mississippi, along with this 201-2. I've got another 222K, the Queen of Singers, that's going to be going up for sale. So if anyone's interested, reach out to me beforehand, and maybe you can nab it before it goes up for sale, because these machines are like white unicorns. It's not going to last, and someone's going to jump on it. So you reach out, you can send me a text. The moderators can type my phone number in the chat if you don't already know it. Pretty much everyone knows my cell phone number. I get calls from all over the place. But if you don't know it, one of the moderators can type it into the live chat, and then you can reach out to me. You can text me, you can call me, you can send me an email, whatever. But it's going to be going up soon once I kind of dig myself out and get caught up on some of these other machines. But with all of the blah, blah, blahing, why don't we actually try sewing on this machine? It looks great, and it's gotten not only workshop magic, but it's also gotten paint shop magic as well, because this Centennial 201-2 was a pretty doggone good looker when I first started on it. But I thought, you know what, this is going to be an heirloom piece that is going to be in this family for generations to come. Elaine is wanting to make this a big deal. Elaine is wanting her granddaughters to remember grandma, and certainly generations after that as well. So we got to make this just right. So got done with all of the electrical, mechanical, tuning, adjustments, all that kind of stuff that I always do. Obviously the deep cleaning, the motor treatment, all the things that happen to a machine when it comes to the workshop. But then I took it a step further. I wanted to maintain the provenance of the machine and the originality. That was something that was important to Elaine. She says, I want it to be original. I want it to be as pure as possible. So we stuck with the original paint, original decals, but then I did some magic to it to really make it pop. Let me show you again what it looks like from the front. And some of you on Facebook have already seen, where are we? There we are. Some of you on Facebook have already seen this machine in still shots. So you already know how drop dead gorgeous this Centennial 201-2 is. Absolutely gorgeous. And I did the same thing for, I keep talking about Paula. Paula, I did a 201-2 like this for her as well, and laid down, well, Paula can tell you how many layers of clear coat. Someone could walk up and try to shoot Paula's 201-2 with a 45, and the bullet would bounce off practically because it has so many layers of clear coat. And I did the same thing for Elaine's, realizing that it's going to be in this family for generations to come. A lot of little fingers are going to touch that machine. A lot of little fingers are going to rub across that bed, and I wanted it to be preserved and protected. And that's what clear coat does when it's done right, is it draws out that original beauty and luster with the original decals, the original paint, and it preserves it like a time capsule. It locks it into place so that, you know, it can get bumped, it can get scratched, it can get little greasy little finger marks all over it. And all you do is take a nice microfiber cloth like this and wipe over it. If you get a scratch, you can gently buff it out. And then you've got that beautiful, beautiful museum quality finish once again for everyone to celebrate and enjoy. Yeah, I mean, that I should have warned you before I just did this. I should have said, put on your sunglasses, Put on your sunglasses because, again, original paint, original decals, but it has a depth of luster that just is like a wow factor. And this is what an heirloom piece should be in a family, so that even the generations that follow that might not be sewists look at this and go, oh my goodness gravy, this is something very, very special that we need to keep in this family. Very, very special. And I've got to celebrate with Elaine and just saying, what a beautiful way. You know, it's not after the fact when someone all of a sudden passes away and then everyone starts looking. I'm going to kind of walk around the machine a little bit. Everyone starts looking at all of grandma's stuff. They start looking at all of grandma's stuff and they're like, oh yeah, this is cool. I have no idea what this is. I don't know if this, you know, if I'm really interested in this and that, and you know, some of the things that might have been important to grandma, but they're not significant to the generations that follow. But what a great plan as a grandma to say, I'm going to enrich my granddaughters with a love of sewing. I'm going to enrich my granddaughters with a love of the memories that we're building together. And they can latch onto those. And then when they have daughters, those great granddaughters or great great granddaughters or great 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 granddaughters will remember from one generation to another the significance of these gifts that Elaine has given to her family. And not just to her granddaughters, but for everyone, because obviously Elaine and the granddaughters are going to be making projects. They're going to be making projects with these two machines, and others will benefit. You know, only a couple months out, we're going to be circling back to Feliz Navidad, to Christmas again. And then all of a sudden, people are going to be thinking about gift giving again. This will be perfect as a way to generate those gifts. And again, if you haven't seen close up what a Centennial badge looks like, that's what it looks like right there. That significant milestone of Singer in 1951, celebrating 100 years. Now, does anyone want to do the math real quick and type in the live chat? What year will Singer be celebrating 200 years? Most of you know that recently with a giveaway contest, when we hit a milestone of 12,000 subscribers, I gave away a 170th anniversary Class 15 machine to my friend down around Madison, Wisconsin. Drove all the way up here, got a proclamation from the mayor, a welcome from the city administrator. It was a big deal. So that was 170. So 30 years we got to wait now until we hit the 200th anniversary for Singer. I don't know if I'm going to be around then, but I hope I am. And maybe some of you younger viewers, maybe like Elaine's granddaughters, will be able to do a really fun celebration on their own or with others with these machines that I prepared from the workshop for them from Grandma Elaine. And they'll be able to celebrate that 200th anniversary that Singer is going to celebrate about 30 years down the road. What a big deal that's going to be. I hope I'm around, but you know, you just never know. You never know. But what a beautiful machine. And now we're going to finally have a chance to see it do some sewing, but I'll show you some of the sewing I've already done on it also, because I think that's important to see too. Yeah. Let me set this camera down over here. Put on a little bit of soft music in the background if I can figure this out. Hold on a second. Okay, I got it. So some of the sewing I've already on Elaine's 201-2. And I should also talk about the setup as well, shouldn't I? I should talk about the setup. There we go. All right. So the setup on the 201-2 is fairly straightforward, but let me walk you through it anyway. because I should never make an assumption that what most of us know, everyone knows, because that's just not the case. All right, music down further. So a quick little look around the 201-2 if you're not familiar with it. This is the switch right over here, obviously, to turn the light on and off. And most of the 201-2s that you see are going to have an incandescent type bulb in them. I always replace those with one of these LED bulbs. Where are we? There we are. With these LED bulbs, they produce a lot more light with a lot less heat. See what I mean? A lot less heat. And the good thing about the way the 201 should be wired is when you're shooting a live stream like this, LED lights can goof around with a camera. So I try to have it when I'm sewing and I see that, okay, the camera's getting kind of dazzled and confused by this bright LED light. So I'm going to shut it off for a lot of this live stream. And that way you can see what we're doing even more clearly. So over on this side of the machine, we've got obviously the bobbin winder. To engage it, you just kind of push it into the balance wheel. It's going to kind of lock down in there. You'll obviously have your bobbin on here. And then when it fills up, it's going to automatically disengage. And of course, you're going to disengage your clutch as well. Yeah. Over here, stitch length. This is a straight stitch only machine, but like the other Singers that are lock stitch machines, you could always decide to add a zigzagger, an automatic zigzagger with this machine. And that way you're able to generate a variety of different stitches. I believe, and it's been a while ago, I think I sent one with Paula's machine. Paula, did I send you a zigzagger? I think I did, just as a special thank you. And so Paula's 201-2, she's able to do straight stitching, zigzag, decorative stitching, and all kinds of other fun stuff. And when you're all the way down at the bottom like this, you're going to be sewing the largest stitch that the machine can generate, which is going to be right around 6 stitches per inch. As you start to move it up, you're going to be shortening down that stitch to a point where when you get right about up into here, you're going to be generating a stitch that is about 30 stitches per inch. And then if you go all the way to the top, you can sew in reverse with this Centennial Singer 201-2. This little doodad over here, I think very few people use it, but Singer's idea was that if you're working with a project and you don't want to go above, say, 10 stitches per inch, then you can loosen this little thumb screw. You can rotate this up, and then it lowers down a little clapper on top of the stitch length regulator, so you can't push this up any further. It kind of retards or restricts the movement of the stitch length controller. And that way you can stay within a certain boundary of stitching, depending on what kind of project you're doing. So obviously over here, we have our upper tension. Upper tension, again, if you're brand new to sewing, upper tension is going to be the force that is pulling up during the sewing process, along with this take-up spring right here, so that you get a nicely defined lock stitch. If you're getting a real loose lock stitch, which we certainly don't have with this bubblegum material, beautiful stitching on the top. Wait, let me do that again. Beautiful stitching on the top and also on the bottom as well. And what that means when you get beautiful balance like that, which a lot of people struggle with, what that means is that this upper tension and then the bobbin case down here, and obviously the 201-2 has a drop-in style bobbin that takes a class 66 bobbin. So right around the corner right here, if I kind of point at it with my little shears, right around here, there's a little adjustment screw that can be turned clockwise if your top stitch is too loose during the stitching process. Because again, what this bobbin case that's built into the raceway on this 201-2 does is it pulls down during the sewing process. It pulls down and it defines that top stitch, while the upper tension is pulling up and defining the lock stitch on the bottom. It's a tug of war. You get it? It's a tug of war, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This one here pulling up. This one here, pulling down, pulling up, pulling down, pulling down, pulling up. Well, you know what I mean. I kind of just reversed it. But they're in a constant battle. And once they become friends, you get stitching like this right here. You get stitching like this, where you've got a beautifully defined, let me get closer. We'll do it like that. Let's just do it like that. You get a beautifully defined top stitch. I'm seeing if the camera's focusing on the right thing. Hold on. It's not. All right, let me help it out. Let me help it out. Let's help out the camera. All right, I'm just going to hold it there because it's kind of, this stuff is real curly. It's got a high vinyl concentration in it. So when you get those two working together and they're friends, then you're going to get stitching like this. I'm eventually going to get this. This is just not cooperating today. You're eventually going to get stitching like this with a beautiful top stitch and also a beautiful lock stitch. And if you're not familiar with this bubblegum style material, it's super duper stretchy stuff. Super duper stretchy. It's got a lot of vinyl in it, and I've shown you this stuff before where you can literally pull it like bubblegum, like taffy. And testing Elaine's machine off camera, I usually do 1 or 2 layers of this stuff. I actually did 3 layers. And yet Elaine's 201-2 maintained stitch quality. That's absolutely drop dead gorgeous. Beautiful stitch quality. See that? The camera's finally on duty now, and it's saying, okay, I've messed around with you enough, Scott. I'm finally going to show the folks what the stitching looks like. Thank you, camera. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, camera. So you can look at the thickness of that. And again, a vinyl concentration. Sticky, gummy stuff. Nasty stuff. And yet beautiful stitch integrity. When a machine can maintain stitch integrity like this, the spacing, the formation, the presentation of the stitch, the balance of the stitch between lock and top, you know that that machine is just doing a dance. It's doing a happy dance. So this again is the bubblegum material. We'll probably show this again during the live stream. We probably will. So let me throw that to the back. Then also off camera, I wanted to try something new. I wanted to try something totally different and new. So some of you know that I like to go to the Dollar Tree, right? I like to go to the Dollar Tree. And they had this vinyl, I think it's called like a vinyl paper. It's a vinyl paper. It's used for different projects, craft projects and stuff like that. Let me see if I can grab the box real quick and show you what the box looks like. That way, if you have a Dollar Tree near you or something similar to that, you can look for this stuff because it's pretty doggone cool. Pretty cool stuff. I got one of the tables moved, so I'm having to do like a swiggle wiggle thing through it. So this is what I picked up. I'm going to put it right in front of Elaine's machine here and show it to you. Vinyl paper by Crafter's Corner. Kind of get in here a little bit more. Hold on just a second. Let me kind of get the camera still here. All right, I'm going to stand real still, see if it focuses. There we go. Finally. So Crafter's Corner, or Crafter's Square, excuse me, vinyl paper. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun? We talk about sewing vinyl. We talk about how vinyl can cause skip stitching. It can distort stitching. And wouldn't it be fun to sew some of this stuff? So that's what I did is I took 2 layers of this stuff. It comes in a big roll. And again, you know, the Dollar Tree is not the Dollar Tree anymore. It's now the $1.25 tree. So for $1.25, you get a fairly good sized box like this. And it's I don't know what the roll is, about 12 inches long. So you get about a foot of this stuff. And I stuck 2 layers of it back to back. And then I went down it with Elaine's machine just to see how it would manage this. Because vinyl always messes with stitches, right? Always messes with stitches. And this is what I got as a result, just the first time. And I was sewing with a size 90 universal needle. I put it kind of like this. You'll probably be able to see the stitches even with greater clarity when I do it vertically, if I can balance it. Timber! Let's do it like this. But it's basically paper made out of a vinyl material. There we go. Let's get it like that. This camera is like on Saturday mode today. It's really having a difficult time, maybe because of the purple color. I don't know. Yeah, it's not doing a good job of focusing on it. I'll just pick it up and see if I can do it that way. Kind of show it to you. Why don't we do it like this? I'll show it to you like on an angle. Oh, the stuff is like impossible to get on the camera. Hold on a second. Turn a light on. Maybe that'll help. Does that help at all? I can't quite tell. It's kind of messing with the camera too. At any rate, the stitch quality was surprisingly good for this vinyl paper stuff from the Dollar Tree. So I'll probably stitch a little bit more of this today. It's just something different to try. You know what I mean? It's something different to try and just kind of goof around to see how the machine can manage it. I'm going to shut that light off. That doesn't help. See how the machine manages it. And you can imagine you could get some of this stuff. It's about, what is it? 30? I don't know what the width of this stuff is. It's probably about close to 12 inches wide, but you could do a lot of fun projects with something like this. Just kind of generating different stitching with it. So, yeah, I'm not getting the right angle. Maybe over there. Almost got it. Any rate, we'll look at that again. That's going to make us go buggy if we try to get it so we can see it. But if you want to check this stuff out, it's fun to sew. The other thing I picked up as a different thing to try is cork material. And this cork material also was available at the Dollar Tree. And it is in probably about 12 by 9 chunks. It's got an adhesive on the back so you could stick it, make a little board or something like that. And I decided I wanted to sew 2 layers of this cork material as well. And I think I might have more of this cut. I don't know, but we might try sewing this today on the live stream. Hold on a second. We might try sewing this as well on the live stream today and see how the machine does. It did really well off camera, generating some really pretty stitching on this cork material. And I'd say probably the 2 layers together are probably about 4 millimeters. Kind of look at it from an angle here. Maybe it'll show up. Yeah, it shows up a little bit better that way. So I don't know if any of you have ever tried sewing cork before, but it's a unique little challenge for the machine. And you'll want to choose your, obviously your thread and your needle. Choose your thread and needle so that it's able to successfully do it. But no skip stitches and some really beautiful stitching from this cork material. I suppose you could do all kinds of fun projects with cork too, couldn't you? Yeah. But I just decided to be a little bit adventurous and try something a little bit different. We've never sewn cork before on this channel, so now we're going to sew cork and vinyl paper at the same time. Probably not at the same time, but you get the idea. So yeah, you have to check this out and maybe give it a go. See what you think of it. What else did I try off camera? Protected full grain leather. You've seen this many times, many times on the channel. Protected full grain leather has a special coating on it, as the name implies, to protect it from staining and gives it a little bit more durability, a little bit more wearability. There we go. Finally, a little bit more durability, a little bit more wearability. So pretty doggone tough stuff to get through. I did 2 layers of it. It wasn't even a challenge for Elaine's machine, and laid down some gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. And you can see from the side, if you look at it from the side, probably about 3 to 4 ounces of leather. Not a light sew off at all. And then here's our other side. This is our lock stitching on this side right here. And again, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stitching. Let me set it down. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. And actually, I can see I did some adjusting here. Initially, our lock stitch on this top row was okay, but it wasn't fully defined. And then I bumped up our upper tension just slightly, and then it tightened it up nicely. You can kind of look at the transition from this top row where that lock stitch is a little bit looser, not quite as defined. And then as I made that adjustment of the upper tension, again, the upper tension, this right here, is going to pull up harder. And that's what we needed. And then this middle row and the bottom row are exactly as they should be. Exactly as they should be. Yeah, sometimes looking at stitching from the side is kind of helpful too, isn't it? Yeah. What else did I sew? Oh, when I did that unboxing recently, to introduce and to kind of get people excited about Elaine's machine, I did the 1812 Overture with this saddle grade leather, about 3 ounces thick, approximately. And I just sewed around in a circle and kind of had fun. And again, the machine maintained beautiful stitch quality throughout as I was manipulating this leather very quickly to try to stay up with the rhythm and the beat of the 1812 Overture. But again, you look at it from the side, it's not a thin garment leather. This is saddle grade leather. And we spin it over, you can see it's a little bit hard to see that lock stitch because of the nap of the leather, but all in all, beautiful, beautiful lock stitching as well. No loopiness, no loosey-goosey type stitching. Beautiful, beautiful lock stitching as well. And again, whenever you're manipulating leather very rapidly, you're trying to keep up, whether you're doing free motion quilting without a presser foot attachment, or whether you're just doing like I do, where you just kind of pull that leather around and you're doing all kinds of fun zigzagging in a sense as far as the direction of the stitching. You end up generating some really cool patterns. If I did a little bit more practicing with this, I probably could frame some of these things. They're really quite lovely. So, and then off camera, leading up for this premiere, after I got done with everything, and I'm saying, okay, we're ready at last. We're ready at last for this live stream. And I wanted to do this live stream. Elaine is aware of this, but some of you are not. I wanted to do this live stream a couple days ago, but my 5G network through T-Mobile has been out. They had a tower issue and they just got it back up, which is why we're able to live stream today, finally. So to those engineers that climbed the tower and plugged the cord back in or whatever they did, or whacked it with a hammer, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks. So when I got to that finish line and I'd done all these other sew-offs that you already kind of saw me show you a little bit, I said I want to do one more thing, and it's not likely that Elaine's granddaughters are going to be doing heavy-duty leather sewing. Probably not. But I wanted to try 3 layers of saddle grade leather. I haven't done that in a while. And I thought, I remember Paula's 201-2 just had a bunch of grit, and we pushed her machine pretty doggone hard. So I wanted to do the same thing with this 201-2, and look at this stitch quality. This is through 3 layers of saddle grade leather. And we're gonna replicate this again today, I think. I think we will. So let me get the camera to focus eventually. There we go. Now that is probably close to, look at it on the end there. That's probably close to 10 ounces of leather. And some of you that are saying, I don't know what 10 ounces of leather is. What is that? It's probably about 8 millimeters thick. 8 millimeters thick when you push those layers together. 8 millimeters. That's a little crazy, folks. That's a little crazy. And I'm just showing this to you because I get skeptics all the time that are pushing the light industrial machines that say that a Singer sewing machine, a 201-2, is not capable of sewing at this level. All evidence to the contrary. All evidence to the contrary. That is, let's just say that that's the thick of thick right there. So, all right, let me throw that to the back as well, because I can blah, blah, blah all day long. You guys know that. But we're going to actually start putting this machine to work a little bit and see how it does. See how this 201-2 does underneath the bright lights during this live stream. Let's turn on some of these. I think I'll leave that off for right now. So let me get this camera set down. This is my potential. I don't know if we're going to do all these. But this is my potential sew-off sandwich that I prepared. Where am I? This is my potential sew-off sandwich that I prepared for this live stream today. Everything from, and I haven't sewn this for a while, everything from compressed felt to saddle grade leather to naga hide, which is a fake leather, to bubblegum material, to vinyl paper, to cork material, protected full grain leather, genuine elk hide. Look at the thickness of that elk hide. And again, depending on where it gets cut from the hide, it's going to vary in thickness, but this is going to be an interesting sew off, this genuine elk hide, because this is a real thick piece. Then I've got 100% cotton with a stiffener in between. And then I've got denim, and I've got more cork on the bottom. I have no idea why. But let's just say that if we do all of this, hopefully you went to the bathroom before we started this, and hopefully you've got a soft drink or something to sip while we're going through this live stream, because it's going to run a little while if we do all of these. It's going to run a little while. Yeah, it is. Okay. I'm going to give my voice a break here for a second. And see if we can put a little bit more music on. All right, let me adjust this down. There we go. I love all of these opportunities to present these machines, but especially when it's got such a neat legacy story, a living legacy like this that's going to be going down to Mississippi to become a part of Elaine's family and to be part of that generations, to be part of those generations to come. That's the good stuff, isn't it? Yeah. I'm just glancing at some of the chat real quick. It's warmer down here today, which is weird because we've had a ton of rain. I've got to take off my veteran's jacket. I'm getting too warm. I think I did before. I don't know. A little fan on too over here. Okay. So let me invite those of you that are part of live stream right now, whether you're in the shadows or whether you're in the chat, let me involve you in picking the order of what we're going to sew. So again, some of the choices we have is compressed felt, and this is not felt like you would use when you were back in school to make projects. This is heat treated. It's heat treated, and it basically fuses the fibers of this material. So it's pretty doggone difficult stuff to get through. I've actually got 3 layers of it. I don't know if we're going to do 3 layers because look at the thickness of what that would be. But we'll probably do 1 layer and then add a second layer, and then maybe we'll add a 3rd layer. So we've got compressed felt as a possibility. We have Naugahyde, this stuff right here. It's kind of a fake leather, and it's got kind of a backing on it. This is the stuff you used to see on the office chairs and other applications like that they used to use back in the day. Then I've got saddle grade leather, bubblegum material, this paper vinyl stuff, which the camera does not like that color. Does not like that color at all. Then I've got this cork material, 2 layers of that. Protected full grain leather, this blue stuff right here. This real thick piece of genuine elk hide, which is kind of making me a little bit nervous. And it's kind of shaped like a weird L, isn't it? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew around the edges of this L, and then this will go down with the machine. And then if Elaine's granddaughters want to try sewing on this elk hide as well, they can go ahead and do that. Then I've got this 100% cotton material that I cut from a fat quarter with a stiffener in between. And I'll probably use this piece to sew a variety of different stitches at different lengths, just to show you that range of 6 stitches per inch all the way down to a satin range of about 30 stitches per inch, real close to that anyway. Then I've got this down, and then I've got this extra piece of cork. I have no idea why. So if anyone wants to type into the chat an order, a suggested order of what we sew with Elaine's 201-2, I'm going to try to follow that order. Let you guys pick it. Let you control it. Let you dictate what our order of sew-offs will be. Cows in your backyard. Who's got cows in their backyard? Someone's got cows in their backyard. That's fun. That's awesome. So yeah, I don't know if anyone has any preferences as far as order. I'm just going to look at the chat real quick here. Oh, maybe Elaine. Oh, Elaine, I didn't even say hello to the owner. What's wrong with me? Welcome, Elaine. Elaine is our owner of this 201-2. Yeah, I will definitely educate them, and they will know what they have. This will be a surprise for them for sure. How cool is that? See, I didn't know it was a surprise. That's even better. That's even cooler. Very cool. So if no one's chiming in with a order of what we should sew first, then I'm probably just going to start sewing. We start sewing off on some of these materials. My phone is doing all kinds of goofy things today. Ugh. Come on, be nice. Be nice, you silly thing. All right, why don't we start with this? I had shown you guys the sew-off I did with 3 layers of saddle grade leather. And again, people with a 201-2 are not likely to ever sew at this level with this thickness of saddle grade type leather. They're just not likely to do it. Some of the more adventurous ones will, knowing that the machine can handle it with as long as you maintain the machine properly, as long as it's been set up properly, like Elaine's, then you're able to sew at this level, and you do basic maintenance on the machine, changing out the needle as frequently as needed, oiling the critical points to keep the machine properly lubricated, and certainly periodically doing a full service of the potted motor wells that require that special grease to stay properly lubricated. But with those basic maintenance steps that don't take a lot of time, you can sew at this level all day long. I've got people that have 201-2s that I've supplied to them, and they're regular leather sewers. They have a small business, and they do wallets, and they do bike jackets, and they do all kinds of other things like that. So it definitely is possible. It definitely is possible. But it scares the heck out of some people when you look at it from the side. That's a lot of leather. That's a lot of leather, probably about 4, almost 5 millimeters thick. But I know that this machine can handle it. And I started to talk about setup, and then I got sidetracked a little bit. So the setup on this 201-2, let's just focus on the needle to begin with. The needle, when you insert it, the flat side is going to go to the left. So the flat side is going to face away from the pillar and the motor. Make sure the flat side goes to the left. Make sure it gets all the way up into that needle well, and then tighten it down nice and tight. And again, this does not have a sure set type needle well. So you got to make sure as you're tightening it down, sometimes what can happen is that flat side can start to rotate a little bit. It'll start to rotate to the back or to the front. And then as you're stitching, your stitches will look like they're cockeyed. And that's because the eye of the needle is no longer orientated properly. It's shifted. So as you're tightening it down, just kind of keep an eye on the flat side on the left. Make sure it stays true to the left side. Snug it all the way down, and then go ahead and get to sewing after that. And also when you're threading this, when you get all the way down to here, you're going to be threading this from right to left. A lot of the singers, matter of fact, most of the singers are going to thread from left to right. When you're sewing with a 201-2, you need to thread it from right to left. And I'm not going to show you the threading of it because it's well, yeah, I will. Let me do that real quick. Let me show you the threading. So coming off the top, and we're using a standard dual duty XP type thread. It's mid-grade type thread. It's not a Gutermann. It's not a super high-end thread, but it's a really versatile thread. So we're coming off the top. We're coming through this first thread guide right here. I'm waiting for the camera to focus on my finger. Eventually, come on. I don't know what's wrong with this camera today. It's just acting really goofy. Now we're going to come down through here, through the tension discs. And always when you're threading a machine, make sure that your presser foot lever is in the up position. Right now I've got it in the down position because we're getting ready to sew off these 3 layers of saddle grade leather. But when you're threading the machine, make sure this take-up arm is all the way up so it releases the tension on the discs. You have to have the tension release on the disc to draw that thread all the way in. And then as you come around the bottom of this upper tension, you're going to kind of draw it through this take-up spring. You have to kind of pull it up past here. And then you'll see that the thread will go between that take-up spring and over this little thread guide right here on the top of the upper tension unit itself. You're then going to take that thread straight up to the take-up arm right there. And you're going to come down across the faceplate through this thread guide. And you're going to finally come down to this thread guide. And then there's one more little thread guide that's kind of hidden. It's right over here on the right side. And you want to get the thread through there as well. And then you finally are going to thread the needle again from right to left. Hopefully that made sense. And I know the camera is not doing the grandest of jobs today, so that's kind of a little bit frustrating, but I think you saw most of it. I think it'll probably make sense for you, hopefully. All right, so all the blah, blah, blah. Let's actually see if we can sew these 3 layers of saddle grade leather. Again, a lot of folks would be skeptical that this is possible, and that's why I'm showing it on the live stream. I showed you what I did off camera, right over here. Now we're actually going to do it live. Yeah, that's scary. A little scary because anything's possible, but we're going to give it a go anyway. All right. And I'm going to sew down the left side, and then I'll leave the right side for Elaine and her granddaughters if they want to goof around, so that they can get that T-shirt that says, "Yep, I sewed 3 layers of saddle grade leather." Yeah, I did. And whenever you're launching, I think most of you know this by now. Whenever you're launching, make sure that take-up arm is at the highest position. See, I'm going a little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher, and then it's just about ready to go on that down sweep. See that? Just about ready to go on that down sweep. And that's going to allow the mechanics of the machine to have the freest motion. So there's no binding, there's no hesitation. And that potted motor is able to drive that needle through that leather with the least amount of difficulty. All right, let's give this a go. And I've got no music on right now intentionally. I want you to hear Elaine's machine run, even under a load like this. Again, we're going through probably close to 10 ounces of leather, about 5 or 6 millimeters thick. Saddle grade leather. Crazy stuff. All right, let's give this a go. Oh, and I did not talk about the needle. Today, for this live stream, I have this particular needle in Elaine's machine. I'm going to show it to you right there. It's a Schmetz size 90, and it specifically is designed for leather sewing. So when we do the leather sewing with this machine, we should have a little bit of an edge because of the design of the needle. Most needles are going to have 10 parts, all the way from the point to the scarf to the shaft to I missed the eye, but going up, there's about 10 parts to the needle. And these are specifically designed with a cutting edge on the point that's going to allow it to go through that leather a little bit more easily. Yeah. And if anybody for extra credit wants to Google real quick the 10 parts, and there's some people that argue there's 8 parts, but the parts of the needle, and post it in the live chat, you're going to get extra brownie points today. If anyone wants to do that, the different parts of the needle, an average needle is going to have about 8 to 10 different parts. Yeah. All right. So let me throw this to the side, and we will finally see if we can get through these 3 layers again. This needle that I have in here has already done quite a bit of work. So hopefully I'm not sticking my neck out too far. Hopefully not. Shut that light off. There we go. If I shut that light off, it's even a little bit clearer, isn't it? A little bit better. All right, so here we go. 3 layers of saddle grade leather. Keep your fingers and toes crossed. This is a very, very challenging sew off. Here we go. Okay, it was supposed to be challenging. It was supposed to be challenging. What happened? What went wrong? Why didn't the machine hesitate? Why didn't it struggle? Why didn't it sound like it was, oh my gosh, I don't think I can do this? It just sewed it like it was cotton. It just sewed it like it was ridiculous cotton. That's crazy. 3 layers of saddle grade leather. Look for this on another channel. You're not going to find it. There's no one as crazy as I am to try this on a live stream with 3 layers. Look at that from the side. 3 layers of saddle grade leather. It's like sewing a saddle, minus the horse. No animals were hurt during the filming of this live stream. No animals were hurt. And the stitch quality is absolutely near perfect. See, I almost caught myself. I almost said the stitch quality is perfect, but we all know that there's no such thing as a perfect stitch, even though a lot of people claim there is. But I'll tell you one thing, the stitch quality, the stitch integrity, notice there's no tipping of the stitches. The stitches are in perfect alignment going through that much leather. That much leather. So you know what? If Elaine and her granddaughters want to go crazy down in Mississippi and go, you know what? We're going to start making saddles. We're going to start sewing horse stuff. That's how much I know about horses. Horse stuff. That's the technical way of describing it. Look at what they're able to go through without even a hiccup from the machine. Show me another channel where they're not using like a Conso industrial machine and they're going through this much leather that easily. That easily. Insane. Beautiful stitching. Beautiful stitching. Anything different? I just turned it over. This is our lock stitch. Anything different? It's gorgeous. From top to bottom, an absolutely gorgeous lock stitch through 3 layers of saddle grade leather. I don't know what to say. It should have been tough. It should have at least hinted at a challenge. And Elaine's machine is just like, give me a real challenge, buddy. Give me a real challenge. Give me a real challenge. I don't know if I can give it a real challenge. Maybe the ladies down in Mississippi can challenge it. But apparently I'm not giving it enough. Let me set up my little sew-off display thing and we'll take a look at this even a little bit closer. I kind of showed it to you from the side, but I want you to see this stitching through this much leather. And yes, we're using a leather needle. Yes, we are. We're using a leather needle, but you know what? Still. Come on, camera. You're not off duty today. You're working. There it is. Folks, those are page 34 plus stitches. And those of you that are new to the channel, ask one of the moderators, what does page 34 mean? If someone on this channel is saying that's a page 34 stitch, or that's a page 34 plus stitch, what does that mean? What are you talking about? That is insane. That's insane. Look at from the top what we just went through. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Let's turn it around and look at the lock stitch. Are we going to see anything different? No, we're not. It's going to be a gorgeous page 34, probably a page 34 plus stitch. We'll let the camera kind of focus, then I'll move down the line. This is the lock stitch. And the lock stitch is always going to be more challenging for the machine to generate. It's always going to be more challenging. Because not only does the needle have to make it through all of this leather, but then it has to pull that thread back up through all of that leather as well. That's a lot of work. All right, totality of the stitching. I'm going to come out a little bit, kind of show you the stitching from a little bit more of a distance. See if I got my lights off. Yeah, the lights kind of goof around with it a little bit. See if I shut that one off too, if that's better or worse. That's my light above there that I just shut off, and I don't know, I might have to turn that one back on. Yeah, I'm going to turn that one back on. So totality of stitching, again, you see a stitch line that is absolutely gorgeous. If you're making a product, if you're making a wallet, if you're doing a jacket, if you're doing some sort of other leather good and you get stitching like this, it's no wonder people are going to be buying your products as soon as they're coming onto the shelves. And it's no wonder when you look at stitch quality like this, where we're going through probably 3 times, well, let's say 2 to 3 times the thickness of what Rolls-Royce was doing when they were sewing those leather panels on their Rolls-Royce cars with a leather probably about this thickness. You know, this thickness compared to, let me just do it like this, that thickness compared to what we just did. Can you see it? You can see it in the shot. The difference in the thickness between 3 layers of saddle grade leather and what Rolls-Royce would have been sewing with their interior door panels using the same machine that's going to Elaine and her granddaughters. I mean, you folks can type in the chat what you think, but if you look at the thickness of the Rolls-Royce thickness of leather and what we just sewed with Elaine's machine, Jiminy Crickets, it's got to be at least 3 times the thickness. 3 times the thickness we just went through with no hand start, with no difficulty at all. And the real bragging rights is when we pull that away again, this is our lock stitch. It laid down a lock stitch that is absolutely bragworthy. Absolutely bragworthy. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. Exactly what we want to be seeing. Just crazy. Absolutely crazy. There's our top stitch again. I don't want to belabor this, but it's so exciting to dispel myths, isn't it? Because a lot of those people that are pushing the light industrial machines or the Conso style machines or whatever, the Jukies, they're going to be saying that what we just did on this live stream is impossible. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's not possible. We just did it. We just did it. And we laid down, if I can spin it, we laid down page 34 plus stitching in the process. Got to do it like that too, just for fun. Unbelievable. All right, I'm going to throw that to the back. I'm not going to blah, blah, blah anymore. So if there were any skeptics at the beginning that saw me show this off camera so often said, there's no way he did that on that 201-2 that's going to that Mississippi girl. This is what I did off camera. This is what I just did on camera during this live stream. So yeah, if any of you are doubters, just hang around for a while. You'll eventually recognize the cow country difference. You'll eventually recognize the magic of the workshop. You'll eventually recognize the wisdom of the fellow students and leaders that are in this classroom that will show you a new way to look at vintage sewing machines and what they're capable of, what they're able to do. Oh, welcome to, and I know the moderators have already welcomed everybody, but I'm seeing some new names popping up. And Paula, one of my leaders, and Emma as well. And by the way, you guys, you need to know this about the dedication of my leadership team. You got to know about the dedication of the leadership team. Emma is actually at work right now. She's actually at work, but she's able to find little lulls and breaks in her work where she can engage with the audience here in this live stream. That's dedication. And Paula's also, even though Paula's retired, she's busy too out there in West Palm Beach, Florida. And she always takes time as well to be a part of this. I'm grateful for that. Michelle as well. Michelle is another one of the leaders. I didn't see if we have Sunny here today or not, or any of the other leaders, but I'm so blessed with an amazing leadership team. Amazing. And I got to tell you guys a secret. We are really, really close to our next milestone. And I say close, we're about 400 subscribers away from hitting 13,000, but we gain over 100 to 150 subscribers every month. So in a couple of months, we're going to be doing another major giveaway. And for these leaders that you can see in the live chat right now are going to come into play because they're going to be judging that contest. So whatever we end up doing, make friends with them because they're going to be deciding whether or not you win an amazing sewing machine that I'm going to be giving away. Yeah. All right. I got to get something to drink real quick. Y'all relax for a little bit. I'm going to put some music on and I'm going to catch my breath. Try to catch my breath. That's kind of slow. Let's pep it up. Come on, give me something. Yeah, that one right there. That's good. Yeah.
life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. Fuck me, I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think
I don't like
me, and honestly,
I'm not a huge fan of rap. I'm just not, sorry. Yeah, that one. Let's do this one. Or this one. Whoa! This one's kind of hardcore. Sorry. If you don't know who that is the singer repairman. Come on, do your little walk off, buddy. Do your little walk off. No, you're supposed to walk off right now. We're going to. Come on. All right, let's do some more sewing. Anyone that was a doubter that this machine can sew leather, y'all can take a break from that now. So let's do some of this. Let's see. I got this Naga hide. I've got this. What do you guys want to see next? I'll give you just two choices. And our new friend joining us from Virginia or from Utah. I think I saw Paula type that one of our new friends is from the great state of Utah. If someone wants to pick, do we do the compressed or do we do the Naga hide? Naga hide, again, is a fake leather that's got a lot of vinyl in it. This is awful stuff to sew. Awful. I hate it. I love it too. I love it. So what do we do? Do we do the green stuff or the brown stuff? Just type it in the chat. Green or brown, green or brown. And if the owner, Elaine, wants to tell us what to sew, hey, she's the boss. She's the boss. It's up to her. Otherwise, someone else can chime in. Come on. Truth Matters is the first one to pop up. And Truth Matters said, yo, sew the green stuff, dude. Sew the green stuff. So I'm saying, okay, let's do green. I'm going to start with 2 layers of this. And again, this is not a standard felt like you would have used back in school. This is heat treated and it fuses the fibers. So it's like sewing patio blocks. We're going to try 2 layers of it. I might go to 3 depending on the result we get. Because this stuff, like a vinyl material, it messes with that needle, even a leather needle. So let's give this a try. I'm going to pause the music. Listen to Elaine's 201-2 run. And I saw that our friend, Truth Matters, just shared, got a pretty good collection of machines. And she's got the Queen of Singers. She's got some featherweight. She's got a 201-2. But again, what I found in doing this for over 22 years is that folks will have a collection of machines. They only have so much time to maintain those machines and use those machines. And then they'll start watching some of the videos on this channel in the classroom. And they'll start seeing a 201-2 like this that I prepared for Elaine and her granddaughters. And they'll see it doing things that they know in their heart of hearts. They know in their heart of hearts that their 201-2 can't sew at that level. And that's when they finally buckle down and they say, I'm going to pack up that machine using one of Scott's videos. I've got a playlist on the channel. It shows you exactly how to pack up a machine, whether you're shipping from Utah or Virginia or Japan or Canada or Australia or England or any of those other places that machines have come from. And then you get that machine back and your idea of the greatness of that machine totally changed. Totally changed. All right, that's enough blah, blah, blah. Let's sew this compressed felt and let's see what we think of this material. We're going to do 2 layers to start. We might go to 3. We might. So one thing I have to remind myself of and remind you of is before we launch, I'm going to shut that light off. Before we launch, we always want to check that take-up arm. Check that take-up arm. I've got to kind of lift the camera up because it's a little bit low. So I'm going to rotate, 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 rotate. Still going up, 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 still going up. All right, there it is. There's the sweet spot right there. If you've ever wondered why your machine you'll hear that motor, and your machine is making awful noises, and you get like little bird nesting on the bottom of the material, and you're like, what am I doing wrong? It could be as simple as you're launching with this take-up arm lower down, and it's binding the machine. And as soon as you step on that foot controller, that thread is going to start going into action from the bobbin case, from the top. It's going to start pulling it. And that's why you'll get like a mess on the bottom of the material. So go to that spot where it's just getting ready to go on that downstroke. See that? It's just getting ready to go on that downstroke. Launch from there. And if you're still experiencing problems, you might have something mechanically going on, but that will help you considerably. That will help you considerably. Yeah, it will. All right, let's do some of this compressed felt. Give a listen to Elaine's machine. Give a listen. Here we go. I'm slowing it way down. Way down. Oh, and I see something. This is a great learning lesson. We were changing between a field of materials, right? We just sewed crazy leather. Crazy leather. And now we moved over to compressed felt, and we can see something interesting that happened. All of a sudden, we see that as we change between a field of materials, and we're also using a leather needle to do non-leather needle sewing, certain things can happen that we need to potentially adjust for. So let me show you what that looks like. We'll grab our little sew-off holder. We'll set it right there. And we're going to be looking at that top stitch first. Looking at that top stitch. Now, if someone wants to demonstrate that you've been a real attentive student and you've been paying attention during this class, when we're looking at this top stitch, if we feel that the top stitch is underserved. In other words, the top stitch is not as defined as it should be. It doesn't have that pop factor. What do we need to do potentially to give that top stitch more pop factor? Because that's what I'm seeing as I look at this, and I'll be showing it to you right now. As I look at this, our top stitch is passable. It's passable, but it's not as defined as it could be. Take a look at this. And see if I can get our camera to focus on this and be a good camera today. Come on, camera, be good. All right, I'm going to go down the line now. You look at that stitch. It's a passable stitch, but we could make it even poppier. We go back one more time. And some people might look at this stitching and go, what's wrong with it? That looks like a solid top stitch. It's not bad, but it could be better. And that goes back to a concept that we carry through this classroom. It's called CANI, C-A-N-I, C-A-N-I, C-A-N-I. If one of you that already knows, wants to type what that means into the live chat for the rest of us, that would be totally cool. But that is a principle that we embrace fully. We can always make it better. We can always make it better. And so while this might be a passable top stitch, not as good as it could be. And again, look at the thickness of what we went through with these 2 layers. Again, this is not a standard felt. Not a standard felt. It's compressed felt. It's compressed by heat. Fortifies the fibers, makes this stuff really, really crazy difficult to get through. And yet we just did. And we laid down a passable top stitch. Passable. But is it as good as it could be? Is it as good as it could be? Now let me turn it over and I'll show you the contrast of the top stitch to the lock stitch. And you'll start to see, okay, Scott's not losing his mind. Maybe a little. Scott's not losing his mind because when I look at the top stitch and then I look at the lock stitch, I can see how they do contrast each other a wee bit. So let me turn this around and show you that lock stitch now. And then you'll start to see, I'm going to have to set the camera down because this stuff is curling. All right. You stay right there, be nice. Stay right there, be nice. There we go. I think I got it laying pretty flat. Again, because this stuff is heat treated, it's going to tend to curl a little bit, almost like a vinyl when you stitch it together, 2 layers like this. So I'm going to try to get as close as I can and show you this lock stitch, and maybe you'll be able to see kind of what my thinking is on this. And I'm looking at the chat real quick right now as I'm trying to point the camera. Paula is absolutely spot on. Paula is absolutely spot on. Constant and never-ending improvement is what we are committed to in this classroom. We're always trying to make it better. Someone else will look at it and go, that's amazing. And we're like, yeah, it's kind of cool, but we're going to make it better. We're going to make it better. And that's kind of what my leadership team is committed to. And they hold me accountable as well. They hold me accountable and say, let's make it better. So yeah, we're going to do that. All right. I'm going to finally focus on something. Maybe. There we go. Okay, I'm doing my best to keep it level so you can see what I'm seeing. There we go. And you'll notice, and yes, it's the material. This is a compressed felt. So it's going to have a little bit of a texture on the back that's going to distort the appearance of the stitches a little bit. But what you'll notice if you look real close at some of these stitches, they're almost a little bit compressed. And compression means that that upper tension is pulling up a little bit too hard. And what it does when it pulls up a little bit too hard, instead of giving you the fullness of that stitch, it compresses that stitch. It pulls that together a little bit too tight, and it shortens that stitch just slightly. It's real subtle. And yes, it is part of it that it's the material also changes the appearance of that stitch slightly. And yes, they're very good looking stitches, top and bottom, but they can be better. And that's what happens when you sew. Let me set this down. That's what happens when you sew a wide field of sew offs. And it's the very reason that I do it on these live streams. I don't want to just sew one material and consider it done. I don't want to get some quilt batting together and some Kona cotton like my dear friend Paula provided to me. I'm not using it today. I could use it today, but I chose not to use it today, so don't hate me. But it's not doing one sew off, whether it's just leather or whether it's whatever it is. And considering the deal done, pushing that machine through a wide, diverse field of material sew offs, and then understanding why the machine reacts differently as you're changing from one to another, especially when you have a specialized needle like we do today, which is designed specifically for leather. So if we're sewing compressed felt like this, 2 layers of compressed felt, and we're using a leather needle, that stitching is going to look a little bit different than it does if we were to use, say, a universal needle or a needle that's designed for woven type materials. So needles do matter to some extent, but what I love to demonstrate is that when a machine is sewing at the top of its game, when it's sewing as good as it can possibly sew, because it's gone through my process workshop, that you can press the limits and use a less than ideal setup and still get great results. Just as I've already demonstrated today to you, as we've sewn through crazy leather, and now we've sewn through this compressed felt, and we've gotten really good results, but we could always improve them. And what we would do to improve this one, if we were going to be sewing compressed felt all day long, if we were going to be sewing this stuff again and again and again and again and again and again, we're going to be going through this stuff, and we're just going to be sewing compressed felt all day long because it's what we like to do. It's fun. Then we would make an adjustment of backing off that upper tension just slightly. Right now we're on 7. Right now we're on 7. If you look at the upper tension, we would back it down to probably about 6.5 or 6. And then what we would see is we would see all of a sudden that top stitch would get nicer definition. And if we don't go too far, we don't want to go crazy. We're at 7 right now. We don't want to go down to like 5 because then we're going to lose the lock stitch definition. We're going to lose the lock stitch definition. So if we're going from leather to compressed felt, we're going to go gradual and see what impact we bring. We're going to go to right around 6.5. And by backing this off a little bit to 6.5 from 7, it's going to give us a little bit better definition on that top stitch. And if you're doing products where that top stitch really, really matters, then you're going to want to make sure you understand the concept of adjusting tension to get the result that you want. Otherwise, you're going to be battling it. I've had experienced seamstresses that have contacted me almost in tears saying, I've been sewing for 40 years and I just got this new machine and I'm working on this project and I cannot get the tension correct. I've been battling. I've got bird nesting on the bottom because of this material setup that I'm working with. And I'll say, tell me what you're doing. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Someone that's been sewing 40 years and what we understand already in this classroom, and that is that the base is pulling down, the upper tension is pulling up, and they'll be doing the opposite. They're battling loose stitching on the bottom. Guess what? Guess what? They end up turning up the screw on their bobbin case inside of here, and they make the problem even worse because then they're getting even more definition on top, and they're taking more and more away from that lock stitch that they're trying to tighten up. What they should do is they should back this off a little bit, and then they should increase this slightly, and then they're going to be able to get that sweet balance between the two. Because every material difference, every material setup is going to be a little bit different, and you're going to have to make adjustments. You're going to have to understand the tug of war concept, or you're going to be really frustrated. So if we were to all of a sudden take compressed felt like this, and we were to combine it with some of this naugahyde, we may have to make some adjustments to get that stitch balance where we want it. So just be prepared for that. It's not, all of these machine makers that are wanting to convince owners that they just have to set it on automatic and they can sew anything. I'll tell you one thing, that's wishful thinking. But if you're pressing that machine to do different material combinations and material setups, you're going to find that principle does not always hold true. You're going to have to understand how to make that adjustment to get the outcome that you want. Hopefully that makes sense. If that makes sense, what I just tried to explain with all my blah, 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 then, if you want to put a smiley face in the live chat, if you want to do a thumbs up or whatever, that way I know I've done a decent job of helping you to understand how the tension balance factor is and how it's going to impact you as you change between a wide field of materials as you're doing different projects. Yeah, there we go. All right. So I'm just gonna leave this piece for Elaine and for her granddaughters. I'm gonna throw it to the side. How long have we been running? We've been running about an hour and 30 minutes. I'm gonna try to keep us moving forward and do some more sew-offs with this machine. Open the seam up so we can see the locking location. Okay. I don't know if I'm understanding exactly what Crystal is asking for, but I'm going to kind of go like this. This is the compressed felt that we just sewed. And what I'm seeing right there on the top, it may be hard for you to see it, but I'm seeing that the knot is real close to the center. It's very, very close to the center. I don't know if she wants me to actually rip it apart. I think she just wants me to open it, if I understood Crystal's comment correctly. And again, the ideal objective always is to try to get that knot as close to the center of the two material pieces you're joining as possible. And again, we're sewing a compressed felt with a leather needle, so it's not the ideal setup, but even with a non-ideal setup, other than getting a little bit of a tension factor that we would have to adjust, I think that we got some very, very good outcomes as far as the stitch quality and the stitch caliber. Hopefully I gave Crystal what she was looking for. I think that's what she was asking for. All right. So let's move on now to this naugahyde material. Let's move on to this naugahyde material. Okay. Now, naugahyde material is going to have a lot of vinyl in it. It's the cheaper route that people used to take when they were covering their office chairs and other applications like that, where they wanted to have a leather look, but they didn't want to pay for leather. Leather's gotten, it's one of those commodities almost that goes up and down in price all the time. And so even today, people might tend to lean towards using a naugahyde or a vinyl fake leather type material in lieu of using genuine leather. And whenever you're sewing vinyl, I think you guys know this, vinyl has a tendency to distort stitching, to cause skip stitching, and to create all kinds of challenges for the sewist. Whether you're in a live stream like this, and I'm just trying to demonstrate what the machine is capable of doing, or whether you're actually using it for a project application, this type of material is a material that a lot of people that do live streaming with sewing machines, or they're doing a video, say trying to sell a machine on eBay or Etsy or something like that, they would be really reluctant to sew a material like this, especially on a live stream, because it's a tricky material and it can cause you a lot of headaches, and it can cause you a little bit of embarrassment if it does something real funky. So we're going to give it our best shot. I've got these back to back so we can see the stitch quality top and bottom. I'm going to leave the upper tension. I've got it on 6.5 right now. I'm going to leave it backed off on 6.5, and then we'll see if we have to make any adjustments. That is a tug of war location. I love it. You got it. Cool. Now, is Crystal the one from Utah, or is she the one from Virginia? I know that all of you that have been watching the live chat more closely than I have know the answer to that, but I don't remember if Crystal is from Virginia or from Utah. I'm just curious. It doesn't matter to me. And funny enough, I was just on the phone. I was just on the phone with someone from Utah yesterday. I don't know if that was Crystal or not. I don't remember. Remember what? Yeah. All right. So I'm going to leave the music off. Let's go ahead and sew down these 2 layers of Naugahyde back to back, and we'll see how this 201-2 manages this sew off. If no one has ever sewn Naugahyde before and you want me to send you a little sample of this, I don't have a ton of it, but I can send you a little sample of this. Just send me a private message. Give me your address, your contact information, whether it's this type of material, maybe you've never had a chance to try it before, or maybe it's a little piece of this genuine elk hide or some of this bubblegum material, whatever it is. If you want to reach out and say, hey, would you send me a free sample of that stuff so I can give it a try? I'd be happy to do that. Just let me know. Susan Campbell loves her 201. Now, those of you that are really, really smart in the classroom know that there are different subclasses of the 201. So does Susan Campbell love her 201-2 or -1 or -K? We don't know until she tells us. It's a mystery. But yeah, the 201 has about 5 different subclasses. And I'd have to look at my little sheet to read them off correctly and to tell you more about them. But yeah, the 201 came in several different class options. And of course, it was introduced over in Britain first, over in the UK, with the 201K. Does anyone remember? Does anyone know when did the 201 that followed the 1591 with the potted motor, the 201-2, when did it first come on the scene? Does anyone know? When did the 201-2 first come on the scene? All right, while you're contemplating that, I'm going to sew down this line, see how we do. Check my take-up arm. We're good to go. Okay, here we go. And I'm not sewing incredibly straight. I'm giving it a go here. I'm giving it a go. I should have probably put little clips on here. I should have put little clips on there to kind of hold it even, and I didn't do that. Because this stuff, if you look at it right here, I've just let go of it. Just let go of it. Beautiful stitching, but see what happens with that stuff when you're sewing something that has a heavy concentration of vinyl? It's like trying to sew a snake. It's like trying to sew a snake. And you can get some beautiful stitching out of it, but trying to, if you're going to sew this stuff and put 2 pieces together, you really should be using clips to hold those 2 edges evenly together, which I didn't do. But some beautiful, beautiful stitching, both the top stitch and there's our lock stitch. Remember, we backed off our lock stitch a little bit, so we gave a little bit more power to that top stitch. But we still have a nicely defined lock stitch right now. And we'll take this out and take a closer look at it as much as we can. See what it's doing? It's doing the curly coo dance right there. That's what tells you right away you're dealing with something that has a high concentration of vinyl in it. And yet we maintain, look at the stitch quality right there. Try to get the right angle. Maybe like that. Yeah, that's a little bit easier to see. I'm going to shut off that top light for a second. It's kind of glaring. Yeah, that's better with that LED light off. I've got LED lights above me as well, and they cause a glariness on the camera sometimes also. All right, let me get this out of here and we'll take a closer look at it and see what we can see. But what I can see from my seat right here, let me turn that light back on. What I can see from my seat right here is that Elaine's 201-2 did an excellent job of sewing a real tricky material, this naugahyde material. And I don't know, does anyone know, is this still used heavily in manufacturing furniture? Naugahyde material, or have they come up with other adaptations of vinyl-based materials that are slightly different than this original stuff that I'm using right now? See that? Look at it, just it's so nice. It curls itself right into a little circle like a snake. See that? Yeah, very nice material. Kind of nightmare material, actually. Kind of, yeah. All right, all right. Now just lay down for our friends so they can see you. Right? Do that. No, no, you weren't here. Like now, like this. Do now like that. Okay, over the. Ah! All right. Let me see what I can do here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to tag this down even with clips. We'll see. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge. Little bit of a challenge. Let's see what I can do here. All right, got her tag down right there. Get her tag down right over there. Where's my Rolls Royce? There it is. Let's put that Rolls Royce right behind it. I'll hold that in place a little bit. And yes, I really shouldn't have probably cut it this long. That makes it even more challenging to see the stitching, but we're going to do our best. So this again is a naugahyde material, high concentration of vinyl. Let's go down and look at the stitching. What I'm seeing from my seat, at least, is the stitching is really amazingly good for going through 2 layers of this using a leather needle. Get that set up right there. Almost got it. Almost got it. There we go. You're dealing with a material like this, sewing this long of a run. It is so easy, even with a machine being precision calibrated like this one is now. It's so easy to have a misstitch. It's so easy to have a misstitch. It's so easy to have a misaligned or a tilted stitch, or a stitch that is out of form, out of conformity. The uniformity of the stitching that I'm seeing going through 2 layers of this naugahyde material using a leather needle, a size 90 leather needle by Schmetz, it's nothing short of amazing. It's nothing short of amazing. I'm incredibly pleased. Incredibly pleased. Oh, welcome to I gotta give, and if I missed other people, forgive me, but I gotta give a quick welcome to Christina from Brazil. If you're looking at the live chat right now, Christina's the second from the bottom. She's from Brazil, and normally Emma will do the translation for us from English to Portuguese, from English to Portuguese, and from Portuguese back to English. But I think Emma had to step away again. Emma's at work right now, so she may have had to step away to take care of her duties. So Christina, welcome, welcome, welcome. And if anyone else wants to jump in and use Google Translate to translate Portuguese and English, that would be super cool. And if you do it, I'll send you something special. Yeah, I will. But isn't that great about our audience? We get people from around the world that share our love of vintage sewing machines. And we can look at things like this and go, I've never seen a 201-2. I've never seen any sewing machine that's vintage sew 2 layers of Naugahyde material like that and deliver what is a page 34 stitch. Some absolutely beautiful stitching once the camera decides it's going to focus again. Yeah. So let me set the camera down. Let's turn it over and look at the lock stitch. Let's see how this machine was able to maintain stitch integrity with that lock stitch. I'm going to spin this little snake around. You'll be able to see right away I didn't sew real straight. I tried to. Oh my gosh, this is just a nightmare. It is curling and curling and curling and curling. So I'm going to have to kind of hold it with my hand and also hold it on here at the same time. See what happens? And again, there is the blessing and the curse of sewing with vinyl. You just can't get that stuff to behave. It knows it's on camera, so it's going to be even naughtier. It's like when you take your kids or your grandkids out to a public place and they know that you're not likely to give them a swat because they're misbehaving, they're being naughty. It's like this vinyl right now, this Naugahyde stuff. It's under the live stream right now, and it's like, I'm going to be naughty because I can get away with it. So this is our lock stitch now. Let me kind of get close, and I'll do my best to go across. I'm going to pause right there. I'm going to pause right there, and I'm doing my best to keep the camera still, but I'm kind of holding it. Folks, that is gorgeous stitching. If you've never sewn Naugahyde before with this high concentration of vinyl, you have no idea what an accomplishment this is to have this 201-2 lay down stitching like this with the setup that we have. We've got a basic XP dual duty thread. We've got a 90 size leather needle, and yet it's sewing this Naugahyde to near perfection. Near perfection. All right, I'm going to let go of this end now. See what happens when I let go of it. Hey, look at me, Mom. I'll hold this side out now. We'll go the rest of the way across as best as I can. No loopiness, no missed stitches, no skip stitches, no deformed stitches, no tilted stitches. Amazing accomplishment. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. And yet I'm not surprised. All right, I'm going to curl this side now. I'll show you this again. And there are certain adjustments we could make to the machine. There's certain adjustments we could make to the machine to make this curliness a little bit less profound. We could adjust the presser foot pressure just slightly, but the result is you're still dealing with something that has a huge concentration of vinyl, and inevitably, when you're piecing it together like we just did, you're going to get this curl factor. It really is a tricky material to work with. I don't know how many of you have sewn with specifically Naugahyde or with other materials that have this level of vinyl concentration. But if you can sew them successfully on your machine, like we did today with Elaine's machine, then you're doing a great job. You're doing a great job. And we're getting some great results with stitching that is brag worthy in spite of our setup limitations and in spite of the material that we're working with. So couldn't be any more pleased. I'm going to throw this little curly Q back to our pile of sew offs that we've done so far. And we'll move into some other sew offs beyond what we've already done. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, kudos. Thank you to Truth Matters, and I'll echo what Paula just did. We want to make all of our friends that join these live streams feel welcome. And when someone is willing to, you know, as all of the leadership team has done, you know, welcome people, make them feel like they're a part of the classroom, make them feel like they're a part of the cow country family. And it's not a setting where, like, have any of you ever been part of some of the Facebook groups or other groups like that, where you immediately understand when you join that group that there's a pecking order and you better not step out of line, and they try to make you feel kind of like you're dumb. You know what I mean? They do. They make you feel like you're a dummy instead of empowering you to learn and inviting you to share what you know. That's for this classroom is we're all learning from each other. I don't have all the answers. Paula doesn't have all the answers. Emma doesn't have all the answers. We learn from each other, and that's the culture that I want in this classroom. I know it's the culture that the leaders want and everybody else. We want to learn from each other. We want to step away from every live stream feeling like I learned something new and I'm so smart, because you are. So if you're part of a group in another setting and you walk away from that classroom that they do and you feel like, gosh, I guess I don't know very much. I feel kind of dumb. You know what? You need to leave that classroom, because that's not what it's about. And when I had the privilege, I don't want to digress too far, but when I had the privilege to interview Paula Noel, she's in our live chat right now as one of my leaders. She talked about a teacher she had back in the day that was a horrible teacher. And we never want to have that setting here where someone tries to belittle someone, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You guys are smart. So let's keep building a culture here where we can learn from each other, and where you can step away each and every time saying, hey, I learned something new, and doggone it, I am really smart. I am really smart. Because you are. Yeah, all right. I know. I'm just blah, blah, blah. I know. All right. Well, I'm glad to be past that Naugahyde stuff. That's just a nightmare. And thank goodness our Rolls Royce kind of helped us out as well, keeping that material so we can catch a glimpse of those beautiful stitches. All right. Let's totally change gears now. And let's move to 100 cotton. This is a basic cotton that you would get with like a fat quarter at, pretty much any place. You can buy those little fat quarter squares, and that's kind of the way I get them. And I've got some beautiful Kona cotton that Paula sent me that I use quite often, but I just decided to do this today. So we're going to be sewing 100% cotton with a stiffener in between, which I probably don't even really need, but I'm just going to leave it there anyway. And we're going to start with sewing a stitch line of about 6 stitches per inch. We're going to go down to about 10. We're going to go to 12. We're going to go probably down to 14, down to 20. And then finally, we're going to be getting down almost to the 30 stitch per inch range, just so you can look at those kinds of stitches and just see the contrast. And it gives you an idea of what project possibilities there are when you're using a machine like this. And thank you again to Truth Matters for being our translator for Christina today from Brazil. And again, if Truth Matters would reach out to me afterwards, you can either send me a text or contact me through Messenger, whatever. I'd like to send you something special for stepping out there and helping us out with that today, because I know it makes Christina feel so much more welcome when she's understood. Because I think most of us in this classroom today don't speak Portuguese on a daily basis. We just don't do it. So it's great to know what she's saying, how she's reacting. She obviously cares about us a lot. And I'm reading from Truth Matters translations that Christina's been away for a while. I know she had some health challenges. She shared that with us. And she's glad to be back. She's glad to be a part of us again. And it isn't that the cool thing? So many friendships have been forged through our classrooms as people have gotten acquainted, gotten to know each other. They'll give each other's contact information privately. They become the best of friends. I know that happened for sure between Paula Noel and Sonny and numerous other folks. Numerous other folks. So that's the good stuff, isn't it? That's the good stuff. The relationships we build. It's not what we have in life. It's not what we collected. It's the friendships that we forge, isn't it? Yeah, it is. All right, so let's start. We're going to start with right around 6 stitches per inch. And again, if you're not familiar with this machine, when you stitch length controller all the way down, we're going to be sewing right around 6 stitches per inch. As we move it up gradually, which we'll be doing, as we move it up gradually into this range, we'll be getting that stitch line a lot tighter. We'll be getting down to about 20 stitches per inch, almost 30 stitches per inch. We're going to start right down here, okay? And I'm just going to look at the lighting right now. I've got the bed light off right now. I don't know if that's going to goof around with our camera at all. I think that's actually better with the light off, isn't it? But if you're sewing, you can have the light on and it's perfect. It's just when you're using a camera like this, the camera doesn't like that LED light for some reason. All right, let's go down this stitch line. And even when you're sewing something lightweight like this, it's 2 thin layers of cotton with a stiffener. You still want to make sure that take-up arm is at that sweet spot right there. See where it's getting ready to come on that downstroke. All right, let me get that camera lined up again. Can actually get a little bit closer. Let me see if I can get a little bit closer. There we go. I like getting as close to the action as possible so that all of you watching can be closer to the action too, right? You watch some of these crazy videos of fellow sewists on the internet and feel like you're in the nosebleed section of a stadium when they're trying to show you something. You're like, I have no idea what you just showed me. I have no idea what you just showed me, but you showed me something and I couldn't see it. So we try to avoid that. And certainly I can always do better. So give me feedback if there's certain camera angles that are problematic. But I'm looking at my laptop and it looks like you have a real clear view right now of this stitch line that we're about to lay down. Again, we're starting with 6 stitches per inch, and then we're going to back it all the way down close to 30 stitches per inch. And I'll do my best to sew straight, but all of you that know me and love me, I don't always sew straight. So I'll do my best. Here we go. And again, we are sewing cotton using a leather needle. It's not the ideal setup, but we're going to do it anyway. And I'm just going to take a quick little glimpse at my stitching. Looks like we got a pretty good balance. We've got a pretty good balance. That's our top stitch. Kind of flip it up a little bit. That's our lock stitch right over here. It looks like our lock stitch might be a little bit more. I love the word poppy. Does anyone else use the word poppy in normal conversations with people during the day? Or am I the only one on the earth that does that? So looking at our lock stitch right now, we just sewed that stitch line. If it's a little bit more poppy than it probably needs to be compared to our top stitch, then all we would do is just back off that upper tension just slightly. I think we're pretty close. I think we're pretty daggone close. So let's keep on going. Let's keep on going down this stitch line, get some stitching we can look at. Actually, at second thought, I'm looking at that top stitch. I'm going to give it a little bit more definition. We've moved between a wide field of sew-offs already. We've gone through that naga hide. We've gone through compressed felt. We've gone through saddle grade leather. And I'm just thinking we can do a little bit better with this top stitch. So let me get this back into place, and I'm going to make just a subtle little adjustment before we go into our next stitch line. A subtle little adjustment with our upper tension, and I'm going to do that with you right now. So we saw what we generated. It's certainly not a bad stitch, but it can be better. Let me get this camera straight. Come on, camera. This camera is so fickle today. All right, we'll take a closer look at these. Just trust me in saying that the top stitch is not quite as defined as it should be. Let me get that lined up correctly there. So because it's not quite as poppy on the top stitch as we would like, let me shut that light off real quick. Because it's not quite as poppy on the top stitch as we would like, there we go. There we go. Hey, all right. Yeah. So it's a decent looking top stitch, right? It's decent looking, but we can make it better. We can make it better. So the way we make it better, look at all the goofy stuff I have to do. I had to shut off the light above, and it's just crazy, isn't it? So we're just going to back this off just slightly to give a little bit more victory back to that top stitch. We're on 6.5. We're going to go right down to 6. Right about there. So by making that subtle adjustment, we've taken some of the pull away from that upper tension to define that lock stitch, which gives a little bit more strength and pull back to that bobbin case that's trying to define this top stitch. So we just did a little bit of a tug of war adjustment there is what we did. All right, get this adjusted again. And again, it's not, you can see it right there in the shot. Crazy enough, I've got the LED light on the machine right now, and you can actually see the stitching. It's not a bad top stitch. As a matter of fact, it's kind of good looking. It's kind of good looking. Yeah, it is. But making that subtle little adjustment, we're going to make it even, and hopefully we don't take anything away from our lock stitch in the process. Because that's the thing you always have to be careful of. If you back off that upper tension to give this more definition, you're taking a little bit away from the lock stitch, so you don't want to take too much away. Otherwise, you're going to be making that lock stitch less defined, and you'll be north. You know what I mean? So always take the adjustments in real soft, subtle. Don't be aggressive and go, well, I was on 6.5. I'm going to go down to 4. Don't do that. All right. So back to the machine. Let me turn my light back on. We made a little adjustment on the upper tension to step our stitch length back down. So we're on 6. We're going to go right about to 10. I think that's close. It's pretty close to 10. It's in the range of 10. It's in the range of 10. So I'm going to go right to there. Let's do our next stitch off, see what we get. And also, let's see if that top stitch has a little bit more. Obviously, the stitch is going to be smaller, so it's going to be a little bit harder to see. You know what I should do? If someone just silently whispered into my brain and said, Scott, why don't we sew the stitch with that little adjustment we made and see if we can see the contrast? That's brilliant. Like I said, you guys are so smart. So, all right, back pedal, back to where we started. 6 stitches per inch. Sew it again, having made that subtle little upper tension adjustment. And see if we get a slightly more poppy top stitch. All right. Take up arms at the highest position. We're on that rock down. Let's do the same stitch with a little subtle upper tension adjustment. Let's see if this is more poppy now. Here we go. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Yee! Ah. Oh, that's so much fun, isn't it? Isn't it so much fun to learn things together and to see the contrast? Can you see the contrast? This is the one we just did. This is the one we did first. They're really close, but this one has a little bit more poppiness to it now. And all we did is back off the upper tension from 6.5 to 6. We backed it off from 6.5 to 6. Maybe we didn't go far enough. Maybe because we're using a leather needle and we're using this dual duty XP thread, which I got to give a shameless plug to my friends at Joann's over in Marinette, Wisconsin. That's where I buy thread, is Joann's over in Marinette, Wisconsin. This is our setup. Maybe we could even go down to 5.5, and then we would still have a good lock stitch, but we would be able to define this top stitch even more. But we're really close. We're really, really close. We've got some really good looking stitching, both rows, but this one's even better now. Don't you agree? It's even better looking. Yeah. So yeah, constant and never-ending improvement. We made it better. We made it better. All right, so now that we made it better, now we're going to move on, and we're going to make that stitch shorter. We're going to go to about 10. And I'll do that off camera so I don't have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you're going, I'm getting dizzy. Getting dizzy. What are you doing to us? Okay, so let's get this back into position. Yeah, I definitely like the definition of that top stitch more now that we backed off that upper tension. The upper tension was being a little bit of a bully, and we took away that bulliness, and we gave it back to that bobbin case down below so we could have a nicer top stitch. Okay, so off camera, I'm taking that stitch length adjuster, and I'm backing us down to about 10 stitches per inch, approximately. Yes, Crystal, absolutely. Poppy, it's that wow factor. It's that pizzazz. It's that, whoa, baby, look at that. That's Poppy. T-shirts and wear them at a big mall or something like that. Yo, are you Poppy? Of course, then you'll have people walking up and trying to claim that they are your father. And we'd get thrown out. But let's plan that. The next trip I take to Mall of America, we should have a bunch of us meet, and we'll get T-shirts that say, "Yo, are you Poppy?" or something like that. See what happens. All right, somebody have the bail money just in case. Somebody have the bail money. So, all right, so now we're going to do about 10 stitches per inch, approximately. All right, let's see what we see. Let's see what we see. Okay, here we go. Oh, take up arm. There we go. Taking it nice and slow. Yeah, I might have gone a little bit further down than 10. Yeah, very nice. Very, very nice. We're just going to keep going, and then we'll look at all of it together when we get done. Okay. Oh, and the one thing I did not talk about in setup, and I'm going to do that right now, is I oftentimes talk about it's so critical, the orientation of the bobbin, right? I talk about the orientation of the bobbin. So as we're sewing, which way do you think this bobbin will be turning? Will it be turning counterclockwise, or will it be turning clockwise? Counterclockwise or clockwise? And that will determine which way we drop it in when we set up this machine for sewing, right? So if anyone wants to venture a guess, type it in the live chat. When I pull on this thread, is this bobbin going to turn counterclockwise or clockwise? Because Singer sewing machines, they vary in which way that bobbin is going to rotate in the sewing process, right? So type it in the chat. See if you nail it. Nobody's guessing. You guys, don't be afraid to guess. You got a 50-50 chance. You got a 50-50 chance. I'll give you like just a few seconds. I'll get a quick drink of water, and then I'll put on a little bit of music, and then see if anybody throws their hat in the ring and says, it's going to go, and then they guess what direction it's going to go. Yeah. Truth Matters goes, I cheated. I cheated. I love it. La, 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 la. All right, a little bit of music while we. Ooh, that was fun. It just like started and then it stopped. Whoa! Yeah! I don't even know what to do with this. Holy mackerel! We're doing some sewing with this music. So let's see if. Yeah. Ooh! Let's see if Truth Matters is right with clockwise, or if my friend Emma from Naples, Florida, live on this live stream, is correct with counterclockwise. Which way will it go? Which way will it go? The answer is clockwise. Oh, yeah. We're going clockwise, Mom. Look at us go. Yeah. I know I'm wasting thread, but you know what? I'll just buy more from Joann's. It's fine. It's fine. Yeah. So the answer is clockwise. Ladies and gentlemen, great job, everybody. Hey, close the door. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of water real quick. Oh, I didn't even notice. Did Paula put down clockwise too? Paula, if you nailed it, well done, dear. Well done. Well done. Yeah. I'm getting into this music right now. You guys have heard her machine running. This machine is running like silky whisper quiet, blah, 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 blah. I'm into this tune. We might jam for a little bit with this. We might jam. All right, let's take that stitch length down even further. Even further. I think I'm around 15 or something now. I have no idea. Here we go. Dig it in now. Come on. Yeah. Beautiful stitching. Yeah, I'm going to back off that upper tension even just a little bit more. We still can get a little bit more definition out of this. It needs to be more poppy. We're going to go down further. We're going into the microscopic realm. Get your special 3D glasses on. Don't look directly into the light. You could hurt your eyes. You never know. Oh, there it is. Whoa. That was kind of a fun song, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. See, if I turn the light off, see what the camera's doing right now? Turn the light off. Oh, it goes away. Look, Mom, look. Okay, so I backed off the upper tension even a little bit more. We're a little bit below 6 now. I'll kind of show that to you real quick. Because our top stitch is still just a little bit underserved. It's a little bit lacking poppiness. So I backed it off. I'm going to back it off even just a little bit more. 5.5. 5.5 to sew 100% cotton with a stiffener using a leather needle. We're going to 5.5. See what we get. And don't throw a fit, as they say, right? See what we get and don't throw a fit. All right, so I'm backing it off even further. I think this will be our last stitch line. So I'm going to go a ways down. Let's see what we get. I may be so far down, we may start sewing in reverse. You never know. All right, here we go. This will be our last stitch line because we kind of demonstrated and messed around with the tension a little bit. We're going to see what we get this time. Even tinier. I mean, it's going to be like beady, 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 beady. Here we go. I had to give it a little bit of gas. Give it a little bit of gas at the end there. Oh, yeah, we're down there. We're down there. We're teeny tiny. We're down there. So it gives you an idea, depending on the project you're working on, depending on the materials you're working with, depending on your setup as far as needle type, et cetera, et cetera. What we did is we did troubleshooting together, didn't we, during this live stream? Made subtle little adjustments. We don't have to be satisfied with mediocrity. If we have a passable top stitch, but we want a top stitch that's even better, as we've gone through these different stages of stitch length, we've seen what we can do to improve the process even more. And now we'll be able to look at these up close, and we can always make it better. We could have probably made even additional changes than we already made, but it's still fun. It's fun to go through the thinking process of improving the sewing outcome. All right, let me get this blah, blah, blah up here. And now we'll look at this stitching. We'll look at the top stitch first, and then we will go to the lock stitch on the back. And again, realize we're sewing 100% cotton with a leather needle. The leather needle is going to have a totally different cutting point. It's going to have a slightly different scarf. It's going to have a different shaft design on it with that long groove that's going to, result in the stitch outcome that we want as far as appearance. We've generated some beautiful stitching with a less than ideal setup. But if we changed our setup, we could even make it better. So that's the one thing to highlight here. It's really quite impressive, but we can make it even better if we change out needles, if we use a different type of thread. So, all right, let me go from end to end. We'll look at that top stitch first. Oh, there we are. There it is. So some lovely stitching. Again, we're sewing with a less than ideal setup, but we still were able to get some amazing outcomes. Amazing outcomes. Obviously, the ideal size needle for most people that are sewing with a lot of 100% cotton, especially the higher grade cottons, is going to be right around a size 80. I know that some go down to a size 70, but most serious quilters are going to be usually sewing with a size between a size 70 and a size 80. So we're a little bit on the bigger size with the needle as well. Not only are we using a leather needle to sew 100% cotton, but we're also using a size 90. So that's also part of our setup and some adjustments that could be made to even improve this further. So, but all in all, some great, let me get my, almost fell off the seat. That was exciting. But some great outcomes with our setup that we're using. And look at that bottom row. Holy mackerel. We are down there. I don't think we're quite to 30, but we're pretty doggone close. Okay, let me flip it over. We'll look at that lock stitch. So this is our lock stitch going through these different phases of stitch length with Elaine's 201-2 Centennial model. So even with backing off that upper tension, I think we could have gone even a little bit further. Don't you agree? We could have gone even a little bit further because we have a very poppy lock stitch on all of those rows. A very poppy lock stitch. And again, you don't want to have an overly poppy lock stitch because what it'll do is it'll compress that stitch. You won't get the fullness of that stitch length. It'll actually pull it in a little bit tauter and you lose some of that stitch presentation that you otherwise would have. So, but I think we did a decent job considering our setup. Our setup is not ideal, and we got some really, really good outcomes, both with our lock stitch that we're looking at right now, and then also with that top stitch again that you already looked at. So between the two, we can always improvement. We can always make improvement on it. We can do better. But all in all, I think we had success. And then I'll leave this space open for Elaine and her granddaughters to do some additional stitching on this space over here. So there's our pile back there that we're building slowly but surely. And let me see what else we have to sew off. And again, I want to be mindful of our time as well. Our time goes so doggone fast when we're together. It really does. Our time goes really, really fast. We've been running from beginning to where we are right now about 2.5 hours. So we need to wrap this up. I'm going to do some more stitch offs. I'd like you folks, and if Elaine is, I don't know if Elaine is still with us. She might have had to have stepped away, but if she's still with us, if she wants to pick the final sew offs that we're going to do on her Centennial machine, then I think that'd be totally cool. Hopefully you agree. Yeah. Oh, you can see our screen right there. That's kind of fun, huh? Yeah. Okay, so what do we have left? What do we have left? Oh, I know one sew off I'd like to do. Sure. I'd love to do this 100% elk hide because this particular piece from this section of the hide is crazy thick. It's probably about five ounces of leather, close to 6. And I just want to be able to sew around these edges, try to stay straight if I can, and just kind of demonstrate the strength of the machine and managing speed and still being able to have a huge amount of strength with that downward needle stroke. So that's one. I would like to do that. But this cork material, we've got standard denim. And denim I would probably do somewhere between 4 to 6 layers, something like that. Protected full grain leather. Both of these are protected full grain leather. We've got this vinyl paper, which is kind of fun. 2 layers of this cork material. And then finally, last but not least, we've got this bubblegum material. And I didn't show you before if you're saying, why are you calling it bubblegum material? Why? See? Wow. 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 You get the idea. It's real stretchy stuff because of all that vinyl in there. So if anyone wants to pick, probably like 2 more sew offs, 3 more sew offs, something like that. We'll just zip through those sew offs. Those are the choices we have. Bubblegum, we've got the vinyl paper, we've got cork, we've got protected full grain, we've got denim, we've got genuine elk hide. I'm going to look at the chat, see if anybody chimes in and says, yeah, let's do this, let's do that. Let's wrap up this live stream sewing this material with Elaine's Centennial 201-2. Oh, Paula has to step away. Paula, great seeing you, dear. Great seeing you. Oh, Paula says she did not answer with regard to the rotation of the bobbin because she must have looked it up or something. Or she ran over to her 201-2 machine and 201-2 machine and she pulled on the thread to see which way it rotated. But you know what? It shows you in this classroom, we had very, very smart people with differing opinions. And having the orientation of the bobbin wrong can create so many challenges for the sewist. So it's important that we cover some of those basic things. Oh, okay. Thank you, Christina, for the happy Father's Day wish. Very sweet. Thank you very much for that. Okay, so no one's chiming in. So I'm gonna go for the elk hide, and then we'll do a couple more. Anybody wants to chime in and say, yeah, let's do this, let's do that, then I would be totally open to that. That would be great. I love for us to get involved as fellow students and kind of check things out. You know what I mean? All right, so let's do this first. And again, if you look at it from the side, you can see right away the thickness of this elk hide and what we're going to be attempting. And again, we've got a little bit of an advantage because we're sewing with a size 90 Schmetz leather needle. And people ask me about needles all the time. What's the best needle? I've got my own bias on the best needle. I'm a huge fan of Schmetz needles, but it's not to say that Oregon doesn't make great needles too. They do, but some of the mainline needle makers that used to make great needles, like Singer, they don't make such great needles anymore. I'm just being honest with you. All right, so this is our 100% elk hide. It's probably about 5 ounces thick, about 3 millimeters. Let's see if we can get down this line. And the other thing I did not show you, I said it, but I didn't show it to you, is I did not show you down the line of the machine like this. Why am I showing you down the line like this? Because I want you to see that you can launch into leather that is as tough as this stuff. Elk hide is one of the toughest leathers to sew because it's chemically processed. And when they chemically process it, similar to protected full grain leather, it fortifies that leather. It fortifies it and it pushes the piercing threshold up through the roof. It pushes the piercing threshold up through the roof. So to be able to launch into the sew off like this without using a hand start, like sometimes we will do when we're trying to give the machine just a little bit of a get up and go at the beginning, we're going to launch into this without a hand start. And I'm going to regulate the speed. I'm not going to be going pedal to the metal. I'm going to be regulating the speed so that I can try to stay fairly close to the edge and fairly straight without, gunning it and pushing that potted motor to the max. So part of my trick in doing that will be to make sure that this take-up arm is on that downstroke. There we go. That's exactly where we want it. So we're on that downstroke. Now, the one thing we have to take into account is we've made certain tension adjustments when we were sewing the last sew-offs we did with that 100% cotton. We now have to take into consideration we're going to be sewing a very heavy gauge leather that's about 5 ounces, about 3 to 4 millimeters thick. And it's going to need more help pushing that needle through the leather and then pulling that thread back up. So we need to help it out. And the way we help it out is by taking that upper tension and bringing it back to our starting point of right around 7. So that's what I just did. I took us from right around 5.5 back up to 7. All right, so let me get on this material. And let's go down and around with this 100% elk hide. Again, we've got a tiring needle. I'm hoping we don't have any skip stitching. But when you're sewing leather at this level, plus we did the satin leather as well, and we sewed the heavy vinyl materials, it starts to dull that needle a little bit. So hopefully we get some great stitch quality. I'm also going to bring us back to approximately 6 stitches per inch. And let's see what we get. Oh, you know what I did? I'm so used to getting you closer. Oops. Let's do that after we get the launch. I apologize. After we get the launch, I'll take us back down to the needle. After we get the launch, I'll take us back down to the needle. So we're looking down the line of the machine. You can see that I'm not going to hand start it. I'm just going to launch into this. All right, there we go. All right, genuine elk hide. Let's get at this. Let's get at this. Here we go. Look at the power of this machine. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. No hand start. Going through about 5 ounces of this elk hide. Same thing. All right, now I'm going to move us closer. You've seen me operating it. I'm not giving the motor a boost. The motor is so strong that even at a slow start, at a controlled start, I should say, at a controlled start with no hand start, we're able to sew a leather of this thickness and this density. It gives you an idea of how strong Elaine's 201-2 is, right? So let's get close now to the action, because I love being there. I know you do as well. And let's finish off this sew off. Just check my camera angle. Okay, I think that's a pretty good camera angle. I want you to be able to see as those stitches are being laid down. Look at that. You can see that stitch line over here. Look at that stitch line. That is page 34 plus, folks. Page 34 plus. After all the sewing we've done on this needle already. That's why I love Schmetz needles. I just do. If you want to put me on a commercial, I will sing their praises. Yes, I will. I will sing their praises. The only thing I'm noticing is I'm just going to back off that upper tension just ever so slightly, because a couple places we're a little bit weaker on that top stitch. I'm just going to check the bottom real quick. Yep, I think we're good. All right, here we go. All right, let me give that a turn. This is going to be a challenge. I'm going to have to kind of turn it like near the camera. I'm going to have to back up the camera just for a second. I don't have enough room with this tail sticking out. Sorry about that. All right, I think I got that right. Here we go. Yeah, I went a little bit too far. Not too bad. Not too bad. All right, I'm going to close off the box, and then we'll take a look at these stitches. Come at a little bit of an angle here. Folks, look at that from the edge. If you're doubtful about, number one, how easy this 201-2 just made that look. If you've got a 201-2 and you attempt to sew leather similar to this, and again, not all leathers are created equal. Saddle grade leather, genuine elk hide, those fortified leathers are going to really, really test the strength of your machine. This is one of the toughest leathers you can possibly sew. It's one of the toughest leathers. Look at how thick that is. It's like a belt. We just sewed through a belt. No hand assist, no turning the balance wheel to assist the motor. We just got it done. And the machine did it with absolute ease, even sewing slower as far as the rate and the power that we're given to that motor. The motor is just so doggone strong. Okay, let me get this up on the stitch off holder, and let's see how we did as far as stitching this genuine elk hide. I'm kind of cockeyed here, but that's, oh well. Okay, so let's take a look at this. I'm going to start maybe on the right, and we'll kind of work our way across. Start right around over in here. And this again is our top stitch. I'm going to pause right there. Folks, those are page 34, if not page 34 plus stitches. That means that they are near perfect. And again, we've got a tiring needle that has done a lot of off-camera sewing, a lot of on-camera sewing, and yet it's still delivering what I would consider to be a near perfect stitch. And also we did pretty good. We did pretty good as far as the balance of that, the poppiness of this top stitch in relation to the lock stitch on the bottom. We've got some very, very nice looking stitch definition. Beautiful stitching. Totality of the stitching, I'm going to kind of come out a little bit like this. Lovely, lovely stitching. Again, through genuine elkite. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this around. We'll go ahead and look at the lock stitch now. And again, as I get ready to turn it over, look at the thickness of that leather. It's like sewing through a belt is what we just did. So I'm going to spin this around, go and look at that lock stitch. And then we might do one more sew off if somebody wants to see something sewn on here. But we're running long, and I want to be sensitive that folks are very committed. They're very loyal to our classroom, to what we do. But it's the weekend, and I know you all need to move on and do other things too. So we need to wrap this up. So let's take a look at this lock stitching now. All right, almost got it. Absolutely gorgeous. Pause right there. Come back down over here. Totality of the stitching, kind of come out right about there. Again, I can't emphasize enough the ease at which Elaine's 201-2 just got the job done with a leather like this. That's the equivalent of sewing through a belt, and laid down stitching like this that I think is absolutely brag-worthy stitching. Very, very impressed. Not all 201s that come into the workshop are going to leave with exactly the same amount of strength. They're going to be real close, but certain machines, they just have a natural grit, a strength after I've gone through and taking care of servicing that potted motor, doing rewiring or whatever else the machine requires. And this is going to be one of those machines that has just a little bit of a super edge power when it comes to the strength. I'm really impressed, really impressed. Is there anything else? And I'm just going to show you the sew-off sandwich that we did real quick. And this is, again, Elaine's 201-2 right here. I'm going to come from the front like this, give you a glimpse of it. And again, this went through the paint shop as well. Original paint, original decals, but I did a special conditioning process on the paint and then added that new clear coat layer after layer after layer after layer to fortify this machine, knowing that it's going to be getting a lot of little hands touching it. Those granddaughters are going to be curious about this machine, and they're going to want to touch this machine, and that's okay, because it's got so many layers of clear coat. It's going to be able to stay. It's going to be able to protect those decals and that original paint very nicely. But again, don't be fooled if you're shopping for a machine. Don't be fooled. A shiny, pretty machine like this does not translate to a machine that can sew like this. Not at all. So don't say, oh, it's so pretty, it's so shiny, it's going to sew beautifully. I've gotten a lot of machines in the workshop where people made that false assumption. So don't do that. You guys are a lot smarter than that. You're a lot smarter than that. So, but isn't it great when you can take a machine and give it this gorgeous beauty, this heirloom quality with original paint, original decals, and at the same time stitch off on stuff like, I'm trying to show it to you somewhere over there, stitch off on things like this. and the machine just dances through it. Just dances. So what have we done so far? And then we'll kind of wrap this up. What have we done so far? Yeah, I got my light on. Okay. So we sewed. We just got, let's just do it like this. We sewed this genuine elk hide. We just got done with that. There we go. We just got done sewing this genuine elk hide. We went through these different stitch length sew-offs on this 100% cotton. Went from about 6 stitches almost all the way down to 30. We sewed this nasty naga hide stuff. That's like a wicked little snake, and it keeps trying to curl because of all that vinyl in there. You go over here, little snake guy. I sewed off camera. Let's see. I'm trying to remember now. I sewed off camera these 3 layers of saddle grade leather. Absolutely page 34 plus stitching, top and bottom, gorgeous. And then on camera, to get rid of any of those doubters or haters that say a 201-2 cannot sew something like that, we did it live on this live stream and laid down absolutely gorgeous page 34 stitching, top, and also the bottom as well, the lock stitch. And that's the difference, is I don't just talk about it. I want to show you guys. I want to show you live on a live stream. Then we sewed this kind of tricky compressed felt stuff, and we laid down beautiful stitching on that as well. 2 layers of that stuff. So I think we more than have tested Elaine's 201-2. But you know, I've got a couple of other sew-offs we could do if anyone is really gung-ho and says, no, I really wanted to see it sew, blah, blah, blah. But this is our sew-off sandwich so far. I'm going to throw that to the back there. So if anyone wants to step into the live chat real quick as we wrap this up, if anyone wants to step into the live chat and say, Scott, you've done a great job. You did all of this off camera. All of this was off camera over here. All of this over here. Well, that's not true. This one was on camera when we did the unboxing of that machine from Denver, Colorado. This was on camera with that. Look for that recent unboxing of that machine, the mystery machine that came from Denver, Colorado. I did this live on that live stream to the 12 Overture. This one right here, this big one, the saddle grade leather. All these other ones I did off camera. But if you want to know how good a Schmetz needle is, we did all of this off camera, this one on camera, and then we did all of this during this live stream today. I'm just going to throw it right on top. Just throwing it right on top if I can get a hold of it. We did all of this during this live stream today. All those extra things there. That's why I love Schmetz needles. They are just pretty doggone amazing. So the only thing I have left that we could possibly sew, if anyone's really gangbusters and says, yeah, let's do it, is I've got bubblegum material. There it is, the stretchy stuff. I've got this cork material, 2 layers of that, protected full grain leather. This is also protected full grain leather as well. This vinyl paper stuff that I got from the Dollar Tree. And then finally, I've got this, this is cork also, obviously. I got this denim. We haven't sewn any denim, but that's also a possibility. So this will be our last sew-off. Whatever someone picks, whoever jumps into the live chat first and says, Scott, would you please sew this or sew this? That's what we're going to sew, and then we're going to wrap this up. But I really appreciate everybody sticking it out. We ran long, and that's okay. We ran long. We made a lot of new friendships. We had a lot of new folks that joined us. We had Christina come back from Brazil and join us as well, which is awesome. Made a lot of new friendships, and we've seen the greatness of this Centennial 201-2 machine. That's really what this is all about, is celebrating this machine that's going to go down the Mississippi and delight Elaine and her granddaughters with what it's able to do for them. Cool stuff, right? Okay, so it looks like BBBYCRVR has chosen denim. So we're going to do denim. I'm going to move all these other ones to the side. These are for another sew off with another machine. And we're going to get this denim set up. So this denim right now is, it's not the ideal piece, just to be perfectly honest with you, but I'm going to do my best to work with it. So I'm going to, let's see, 2 layers, that would be 4. That would be 6 layers. And I've got this other stitch line on the back already where I had stitched these 2 together. Maybe I should just get a new piece. What do you guys think? This is kind of junky. Let me get a new piece real quick. Hold on. It'll be the same type of denim, but it's just a little bit cleaner. Hopefully I have some. Oh, this is so awkward right now. Here, while I'm cutting this, I'll put on a little bit of music for y'all. I better be careful. I got the cord for the camera coming across. I don't want to cut the cord while we're, yeah, that would be bad. That only happens when you have a new baby, so let's not do that now. All right. And I'm just doing this, I'm doing this hastily. I'm doing this fast, so it's not going to be perfectly cut out. You know what I mean? So don't go, oh, he cut it really crooked. Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's, you'd have to really turn your head to the side to make this look like it's straight. So we'll do our best with it. Okay, denim. Put the rest of this denim to the side. All right, let's fold it in half like this. And again, we're going to be sewing denim with a leather needle, which is kind of weird, but we're going to do it anyway. So 2 layers. Get that weird little edge there. Where's my scissors? That was a fun song, wasn't it? Yeah, kind of. Okay, so there's our 2 layers. We're going to start, let me angle this down. So our 2 layers. I'm going to kind of fold that in, get us up to 4 layers. And then we're going to go all the way up to 6 layers. And we could go thicker than this. I'm confident that Elaine's 201-2, I could probably do 10 layers of denim. I'm not joking. I could do 10 layers of denim. We're only going to do 6. We're only going to do 6, which still, you know, you look at the thickness of that. I don't think it's a light sew off. I don't think it is. So we're going to go ahead and slide that underneath the presser foot. Very good presser foot clearance as well on the 201-2s. If you're not familiar or real familiar with the machine, they've got some real good presser foot clearance. Now, because we're dealing with 6 layers of denim, and we're wanting to have enough compression down with that presser foot against the feed dogs. Off camera, I did go ahead and just bump up our presser foot pressure just slightly. And if you can hear Hank in the background, somebody must be delivering something or whatever, because he's getting upset. You hear him barking? That's Hank. All right, so let's do this. 6 layers of heavy grade denim with Elaine's 201-2. Again, if you don't know it, because it's the Rolls Royce of singers, right? It's a big imposing machine. Look at the size of this machine. I mean, it's muscular looking. It's like daunting. It's like, whoa, don't mess with me. But the potted motor on these machines is either going to be a 0.5 or a 0.6 amp. The featherweight comes with a 0.4 amp motor. So you're only talking about, even on the larger of the two motors that come with the 201-2, the 0.6 amp, we're only talking about 0.2 of an amp more power than a featherweight. So how can it do what it does? It's the design of the machine, and it's also the fact that there's no belt involved. It's direct drive. The gears off the balance wheel interlace with the gears off of the motor, and there's immediate positive traction. That's how it's able to deliver at the level that it does with a motor that is only about 0.2 larger than a featherweight motor. So if anyone has ever told you, oh, the 201-2, it's got a lot bigger motor. It really doesn't. It's got a motor that's about 0.2 of an amp larger than a featherweight motor, but it's the engineering and how it distributes and how it drives that power from the motor through the balance wheel, down the main shaft, down the needle bar, and eventually down to that material. That's the magic of the power that this machine can deliver. Yeah, it is. It's magical. Okay, so with that magic in mind, let's see what it does with these 6 layers of heavy grade denim. And again, this is not a light grade metal. I can't even talk anymore. This is not grade denim. This is heavy grade denim. This is the because it's going to last a long time. All right. So again, let me just demonstrate again. Kind of come out here a little bit. I am not going to hand start this machine. I'm not going to hand start it. You're looking down the line there. You can see that I'm not going to do this to give it a boost. All I'm going to do is make sure that take-up arm, which you can't see, there it is. Make sure that take-up arm is at the highest position. So again, if you joined us a little bit late, you always want to launch with that take-up arm at the highest position. There we're going. Now it's just beginning to go into that downstroke. See that? You always want to launch on that downstroke so that the mechanics of the machine don't have any binding. There's nothing holding it back. Okay, so let's launch, and then I can always change the camera angle so you can watch the stitches being laid down. Okay? All right, 6 layers. This is our last sew-off on Elaine's 201-2 Centennial model. 6 layers of heavy grade denim. Here we go. Oh my goodness. Oh my gracious. That was so difficult. I didn't think that it would make it. I was really worried. I was really concerned. I'm really being sarcastic because it sewed 6 layers of denim like it was, really? That's supposed to be tough? Seriously? That was my last challenge? That's it? I hope the people down in Mississippi challenged Scott, because that was really kind of boo-hoo, blah-ha. Yeah. So, well, I tried to challenge this machine, but I'm sure the ladies down in Mississippi will do a better job than I did in really putting this machine to work. Really putting this machine to work and doing a lot of fun projects together as grandma and granddaughters. That's the good stuff. All right, let's take a look at these stitches and let's wrap this live stream up. All right. So again, just showing you from the side, that's what we just sewed through. If you've got machines in your collection, maybe you have a 201-2 and you get some heavy grade denim and you fold it similar to this with 6 layers, this thickness, probably about 8 millimeters thick, something like that, and your machine can't do it or it struggles, send it to the workshop and we'll get it sewn as easily as Elaine's did. All right, let's take a look at these stitches. We'll look at the top stitch first. We'll look at the lock stitch. Y'all can wrap up your conversations and enjoy the rest of your weekend. So let's go down this line of stitching. Come on, Kara, you can do it. Come on, camera. Come on. There we go. Those are some beautiful, beautiful stitches. I'll just pause there for a second. Again, we're going through 6 layers of heavy grade denim. We're using a leather needle that has been really overworked. And the stitching is just absolutely as it should be, absolutely spot on. Let's turn this over and look at the lock stitch. Again, the lock stitch is always more difficult to create because that machine is having to pull that thread back up through those layers of denim. Let's see how we did. And again, our adjustment on the upper tension is right below 7. And you know, if we were sewing a ton of denim, we may have to make some subtle adjustments because we're working with a setup. We're working with dual duty XP thread. We're working with a leather needle. We have a goofy setup. We just have a goofy setup. But when you look at what we've sewn and the outcomes that we've gotten, it reinforces how well this machine is running. So let's look at this last stitch line. This is our lock stitch through the 6 layers of denim. There we go. There we go. All right. Well, all I can say is I feel like Elaine's machine deserves to graduate from the workshop. Whenever we do these live streams and these premieres, it's all about the machine doing its dance, demonstrating that it's ready to graduate, demonstrating that it's ready to head out to that owner and dazzle that owner with not only the fact that she's beautiful, not only the fact that she's shiny and pretty, but the fact that she can sew up a storm. So the test that I've done, at least on camera off, trying to get this to lay down a little bit here. The test that I've done to show that this machine is ready to graduate is what I call a sew off sandwich, this right here. Now, I don't know of anybody else in the world. I honestly don't. If you know of somebody, I would love to shake their hand. I would love to congratulate them and say, well done. Well done. I don't know of anyone that's willing to go on a live stream and put a machine through the paces like I do, going through everything from saddle grade leather, like I did on the 1812 Overture on the other live stream with the unboxing. We did this one right here on the live stream. This vinyl paper, this protected full grain leather, bubblegum material, 100% cotton, crazy thick, genuine elk hide, laying down beautiful stitching throughout, compressed felt, cork material. No, cork material is the only thing that we didn't sew on this live stream. Oh, what the heck? Hold on a second. Just got to do it. Just to do it to say we did it. All right, hold on, y'all. Hold on. Just bear with me for a second. All right. Get her done. All right, there, we did it on the live stream too. Cork material is kind of fun to sew. You can look at the stitch line right over there on that side. That's one we just laid down. There it is. If you never sewed cork material before, you got to try it. It's kind of fun. Kind of like a little natural rush. Yeah. All right, so we did cork material too on this live stream. Why not, right? Because I've never sewn cork before until we got to Elaine's machine. And we had to do it. I did it off camera. Now we did it on camera. So cork material. We just did this denim, 6 layers of this, laid down beautiful stitching. This nightmare curly Q, Naga hide stuff. Sewed that as well. Sewed one of these off camera. This one here. This one we did off camera. 3 layers of saddle grade leather. Probably about 10 ounces of leather. Did this live on this live stream today. 3 layers again of saddle grade leather. Laying down, just look at those stitches, folks. Those stitches, how do I make them better? I don't know that I can, but I'm still going to say that they're near perfect. They're not perfect. They're near perfect. Yeah. This camera is just really lazy today. It's a lazy camera. I could threaten to replace you. I might replace you, camera, unless you start doing a better job for our friends. Yeah. All right, enough of that. So this is our final sew off on camera, off camera. And I'm going to declare that this 201-2 is ready to go to Mississippi. It's ready to go to Mississippi and so she can reveal her surprise to her granddaughters. And if you joined us late, again, the game plan is that this 201-2 and then also the 22K, which is the queen of single featherweight, that everybody wants one. Everybody wants a free arm featherweight. Yes, they do. These 2 machines are going to go there, and they are going to be tools for Elaine to pass her passion. Try saying that fast. Pass her passion under her granddaughters so that they can be living legacy pieces that her granddaughters will cherish for all of their lives. And then when they have their own kids, those great grandchildren can also cherish these incredible machines that their taught them to sew on, taught them. So that's the fun stuff, folks. All right, y'all have a good day. Thank you again for your patience, your perseverance, your tenacity in celebrating this incredible 201-2 that's going to be now heading towards Mississippi. Isn't she gorgeous? And you know what? Beyond being a looker like, oh my goodness, I can't believe how beautiful that 201-2 is. And that's original paint, that's original decals. But look at what she accomplished on camera under those bright lights with the very careful scrutinizing eyes of all of you saying, all right, You look pretty, but you know what? Show us what you can do. Show us what you can do. That's what she did right there. Ha ha! Yeah. All right, let's end with some music. Let's end with some music. Yeah. Great job. Great job. Wow, that's so much fun. That's so much fun. So much fun. All right, let's get this party rocking. Come on. Come on, give me something. Give me something. Well, I wasn't looking for that. Give me something else. Give me some of that. Yeah. Yeah, that one right there. Yes. Yes. Ah! Well, thank you to everybody again for celebrating this great, this great 201-2 heading to Mississippi. Thank you to my new friends, and especially my new friend that helped to translate Portuguese. How fun is that? And guys, you're awesome. Thank you, Elaine, for giving me the opportunity to prepare this Rolls Royce of singers for your beautiful granddaughters. I might just travel down to Mississippi and meet y'all. I don't know. I might do it. Anybody wants a road trip with me to Mississippi? Send me a note. Say, yeah, I'll road trip with you to Mississippi. Yeah, I will. Let's go meet Elaine and the girls. Yeah! Ha-ha! Have a great weekend, everybody. I'll end the live stream after this song. Holy mackerel, 3 hours? What? Gumdrops, we talked a long time. There we go. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Ha-ha! Yes! All right, Mr. Bean, get ready. We're getting near the end of the song. Get ready to pull the plug on this, okay? This is a really long song. I didn't think it would run this long. Come on. Come to an end, you silly song, you. Come on. I bet it's going to end real abrupt, and then I'll be like, oh, I missed it. Uh-oh. Maybe. Yeah, see, it did. It ended abruptly. All right, God bless everybody. Have a great weekend. Thank you again. Yeah, click end, Mr. Bean. Click end. You got to click the red one. Click the red one. Yes, that one. Good job. Okay.